Yeah.
It's not Beanie Siegel, J-Ho.
Nope, not Beanie Siegel, J-Hove. And you know what's crazy? I haven't done a show since Friday, right? We normally do shows on Saturdays. That one day makes it seem like forever since I've been on with y'all. So here we go. Me and my main man G back at it. We're going to talk some sports. So you know what time it is. Thank you for joining us here on the Format Podcast live. We got some pretty good topics for you here today. We are going to talk almost exclusively football. Why? Because tomorrow night the NFL season starts. We're already 2 weeks into the college football season, and we love that. This is one of the best times of year. And we are going to talk a little bit of NBA because the NBA just keeps on giving us content and topics to discuss. But before we get to all that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't. So, G, what's up, man? It seems like forever since we've been on here, man. What's good?
Man, you went on a hiatus on us. Football, I get it, man. You gotta take your break. I get it.
Nah, man, it's not even that, man. But
welcome back, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But we here, we ready to rock and roll. Yeah, let's do it, man. But first, before we even get to that, man, how was your Labor Day?
Oh man, I went in hibernation mode, man, for Labor Day. Bro, it's like the perfect opportunity to get some rest, man.
Yeah, it is Labor Day, right? Gotta take a break.
Yeah,
from Labor.
Nothing going on, man. It's just one of them times charging up for this weekend.
Right? Oh man, I hear you on that. Definitely gonna talk about it. That's what's up. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. It's a little light in the chat, but hopefully, as we continue on, people are gonna check in here with us. So let's start here, man. As you can see from the thumbnail, got some pretty interesting topics here, and the first one we're gonna discuss is Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. And why do I bring that up, right? Because with the NFL season set to commence and kick off, so to speak, tomorrow night with the Ravens and the Chiefs, and we'll get to that in the third topic. But there's a lot of major storylines going on in the NFL, and one of the biggest ones is Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, right? What did he play his first 16 years with the Green Bay Packers, right? He was with them, won 4 MVPs, won a Super Bowl, basically mapped out a Hall of Fame career as one of the, I'd say, a top 10 quarterback of all time. Some people might have him higher than that, but I'd definitely say, for me personally, he's in that back half of the top 10. But now, oddly enough, much like his predecessor in Green Bay, Brett Favre, he got traded out of there and he got traded to the New York Jets. And when we talk about New York City, obviously that's one of the greatest media markets on earth, if not the greatest media market on earth, and a place where if you do something in New York, good or bad, it's magnified to an incredible extent, right? And New York Jets haven't won a Super Bowl since 1969. It was at Super Bowl III, Joe Namath with the "We're gonna win, I guarantee it," where he beat the Don Shula coached Baltimore Colts, right? Yeah. And the Colts were heavily favored, and Joe Namath and the Jets ended up winning that, and that basically cemented Joe Namath as an all-time legend in the game. And so any quarterback that's going to be the guy that can get the Jets back to that point and win a championship, much like any basketball player maybe who could get the Knicks a championship, they are going to be legend, in whatever sport they play forever, because it's been so long, right? So Aaron Rodgers obviously gets traded to the Jets last year. 4 plays into the season, he rips his Achilles. Was he 39 at the time? And the Jets have a really good defense, have had one of the better defenses in the league for the last 3 seasons, but they haven't had the quarterback play to match it. So there's a lot of hopes being pinned on Aaron Rodgers this season in terms of what he's going to do and how far he could take the Jets, man. What are your first thoughts on this whole thing, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets?
Man, 40 got to be the new 30 for them to succeed, man. coming off of that Achilles injury, and then he'll be 41 at the end of the season. I think he changed. He turned 41 December the 2nd. They had all the pieces, man, and they still have like a great opportunity to succeed. But I just it's been a year since he's been on the center, so like that's going to be a big difference. The league changes every year.
It does.
So if he can come in and kind of execute, then he'll be okay. But it's the Jets, bro. Like most of their fans stop watching at the December 2nd on his birthday. So
so
it's Aaron Rodgers, A-Rod.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm looking at this whole thing like I don't know that the Jets need Aaron Rodgers to be MVP, 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers that we saw in Green Bay. They just need him to be above average. They need him to be competent and not make mistakes. Zach Wilson played 12 games for the Jets last year and threw for 2,271 yards. That's less than 200 yards per game. That's terrible in the modern NBA, the modern NFL, where you can't really hit quarterbacks and you can't hit receivers, and it's easier than ever for these offensive players to rack up huge numbers, and he couldn't do that. So now you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, I guess, providing he has come back healthy off of that major injury that he suffered, and you're saying if he can give us competent quarterback play, if he can be 70% of what he was at his best, the Jets can be dangerous.
Yeah, man, I think he's just riding his contract out. He's getting paid big money to play football, and we just got to see, right? Week 1 Sunday, we'll really get to see where he's at. That Achilles, it's hard to recover from that, man. Like you're doing a lot of falling, like people diving at your legs. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers hater. I'm actually a big fan of his.
Okay.
But 40 going into 41, realistically, man, right? Like, what are we expecting from him? Like, what are we really expecting from him in that division? Like, let me be realistic. I don't see them making the playoffs, but they have all the tools there to do it. If he can stay healthy, then yes. But I mean, man, it's just
you think we've been spoiled by Tom Brady in terms of what we expect or what we believe we can expect from older quarterbacks or older players, period, if they're really good? And LeBron James, if we're being fair, right?
I mean, Tom Brady didn't have to face that injury of Achilles, right? Like that's
true.
That is a mountain to climb. And we'll get to see how good medicine really is nowadays, right? Like if he can come in and dominate and stay healthy throughout the year and be the Aaron Rodgers that we know him to be, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be that excitement. But until he can do that, like there's a lot of doubters, and I'm sure, like I haven't heard a New Jersey fan, New York Jets fan yet with that type of enthusiasm and or expectation for their season. Like if I was the coach, I would go run heavy at least the first 8 weeks. Right. I'll pound the rock. First 8 weeks, I'm pounding the rock. I'm giving them time to get comfortable. And I feel sorry for their running backs, but who is their running back, by the way, bro? Breece Hall. Okay.
Yeah, he's really good too.
So you got a really good running back.
Cook.
No, Dalvin Cook went to
Dalvin Cook's in Dallas now, right?
He's in Dallas now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He had a short stint with us last year, the Ravens.
That's right.
But you can look for him to get 30 plus carries, 7 to 10. Yeah, he gonna get murdered, man. So what's going on, Tyler? So
good to see you, man. I think we don't know him, right? We don't know Tyler.
Yeah, that's Tyler's dog right there.
Oh, okay. What's going on, Tyler? Good to see you, man.
Yeah. So
7 and 10, no O-line and Zach Wilson. And so, Tyler, I agree with you. I think that's kind of where I was going with this. That was kind of my thoughts on it. And I don't know if you were in here earlier when I said the Jets don't need Aaron Rodgers to be 4-time MVP Green Bay Aaron Rodgers. What they need is better than Zach Wilson. Don't turn the ball over and make the throws where you need to make them Aaron Rodgers. If you got a healthy Breece Hall, hopefully he's healthy and he can run the ball. He had 994 rushing yards last year, 4.5 yards per carry. That's enough to keep you ahead of the chains. You got Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson as his primary quarterback, had 1,000 receiving yards last year. So I think that Aaron Rodgers can definitely be an adjustment to that. I think the problem is, though, you got so many elite defenses and quarterbacks in the AFC, man. It's hard. So even if they do make the playoffs, and then you're gonna have 3 teams out of the AFC East make the playoffs. That's Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets. I don't think so, right? You may not even have 2 teams out of the AFC East make the playoffs because you might have 3 or 4 out of the AFC North make the playoffs. So then what's it going to be? You know what I mean? It's tough sledding in the AFC, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at that, and I'm saying, man,
30 plus carries a game.
but isn't Breece Hall coming off an ACL as well? I think he is. So it's like, okay, now you're coming off an ACL. Can we really count on this dude to really shoulder the load to that level? Now, obviously, you can split some carries, and most teams aren't going to give one guy 30 carries a game, but you get the point. But I think also the key is if you can play good enough offense to allow the defense to do what it does, because we know how talented that defense is, right? CJ Mosley was out here looking like Ray Lewis last year, 151 tackles. Man. Oh, here you go. No,
CJ been solid. CJ been solid his whole career, so we can expect that.
Tackling machine. Yep. So you look at a guy like that and you say, okay, that defense is good. Quinnen Williams up front, Quincy Williams, the other linebacker, obviously Mosley, shut down corner with Sauce Gardner. You're really, I think, in a good position, but you have to. Offensively, you got to give that defense enough help so that they're not on the field, 50 minutes per game because you're going 3 and out. Everybody can't be, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens. That just, you can't win like that anymore. You know what I mean? What did Shannon Sharp say that back then in the 2000, that championship Ravens team, they said, give us 10 points, we'll win the game. That's what the defense said to the offense. Give us 10 points, we'll win the game. How crazy is that? Not to let Baltimore hijack it, but that's insane.
That's going to happen, bro.
Greatest defense of all time. But so when you look at it, man, you just say this is going to be a very interesting season. And just to kind of run it down a little bit, let's look at the schedule for the Jets this year. So they start out with a barn burner. Next Monday night is they play at San Francisco. That's a tough one out of the gate. It's like, man, San Francisco is going to be pissed coming out of losing the Super Bowl again. Right. So that's a tough one, but maybe you kind of catch him a little bit off because Trent Williams, he wasn't there through the whole of camp. Brandon Ayuk wasn't training through the whole of camp. I mean, they were training on their own, but they weren't training with the team. So maybe there'll be a little bit of rust there and you can catch them sleeping. I don't know. So then week 2, Tennessee, then Denver. I'm sorry. So here's the schedule. San Francisco, Tennessee, New England, Denver, Minnesota, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, New England, Houston, Arizona, Indianapolis, Seattle, Miami, Jacksonville, Los Angeles Rams, Buffalo, and Miami. I think that's a manageable schedule. I really do. I think they'll lose the opener to San Francisco, but if they can win that game, who knows what type of confidence that's going to give them and where that takes them going forward. What's up, Christopher? What's going on, man? Good to see you. So excuse me. That schedule, I don't think is like murderer's row. So obviously the opener is tough at San Francisco, but I think they can win at Tennessee. I think they definitely beat New England. I think they'll beat Denver in week 4. I think they'll beat Minnesota because, again, I'm so underwhelmed by Minnesota's quarterback situation and freaking Sam Darnold. Then game 6, they might lose that one because that's Buffalo, but it's a home game. You never know. And we don't know what Buffalo is going to be since they lost a lot of weapons, right? They lost their 2 top receiving targets with Josh Allen. So who knows what that's going to be. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh. So we got to see what their quarterback situation is looking like. Is Russell Wilson still even the starter at that point? Who knows? I think the Jets definitely have a manageable schedule. Your thoughts on it? Have you looked at it yet?
No, I haven't, but just listening to what you were saying, I don't think that it depends on what Aaron Rodgers we get this year. Like that's still the unknown, right? Mm-hmm. Even with the weapons, Mike Williams, he's kind of older. But I still believe that like 7-10 is probably what's going to happen because we don't know. Like this is a lot of teams made a lot of changes in the offseason. We really don't know how well the chemistry is going to gel with these teams, right? Like we can make our predictions, but until they get on that gridiron, it's hard to say, man. It's hard to say
Very
week
hard.
1. Yeah, but if I had to put it, I mean, Tyler said 7-10. I'm gonna go even lower, like 6-11.
No, he said they were 7-10 last year with Zach Wilson as their quarterback, but now he says they tuned up the line, which is true. They add Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams. So he said you have to expect 3 to 4 more wins than last year, right? And I think I can kind of agree with that. So that flips it to 10-7. And depending on how the rest of the AFC plays out, maybe that's a playoff berth, right?
Yeah. No. It's too many dogs in the AFC, bro. It's too many dogs in the AFC. Yeah, he can steal those wins, those division wins. He can steal
right.
those. But, I mean, once
Because
you
I
step
think they
outside
can
of
beat,
that division, man, it's danger
yeah,
close.
but I think they can beat Denver, right? I think they play New England twice. I think they can beat them twice.
Yep.
They can beat Minnesota. I don't believe in Minnesota. I think they can beat Arizona. I don't believe in Arizona. Indianapolis, that's going to be interesting. The Colts, it's going to depend on, to me, the health of Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. So I can't even pick that.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Seattle, I think they can beat Seattle because we don't even know if how that's going to
No,
look. Geno
man,
Smith.
I don't got them beating the Jets beating Seattle, bro. That's crazy work. I don't see it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too high on Seattle so far this year. We'll see. I think they
Aaron
split with
Rodgers got a
Miami.
tender foot. His foot tender though, so
He does.
that changes the playbook for him. That's not old Aaron Rodgers. It won't be old Aaron. Well, it is old Aaron Rodgers, but it's not the Aaron Rodgers that we know.
It's
right?
not the
Like
Aaron
40
Rodgers
plus.
of old.
Yes, there we go. 40 plus. It's gonna be
Yeah.
a different. It's gonna be a different Aaron Rodgers setting out there, man. I think it's more of a conservative team. Like that playbook is gonna cut down because I don't believe he's gonna be as mobile as he used to be. Like that's how he made a lot of his plays on his with his feet. So it's gonna be different. I think it's gonna be a It's hard to tell, man. Like it's hard to tell. Like I wish and hope that these guys get out here and represent, but I just don't see it this year.
So what's interesting? Something you said earlier. You referenced guys falling around your feet, being in the pocket, and all that.
Yep.
Like, how does he? This is interesting, Christopher. I can't go that far, but we'll see. I think it's tough when you got a quarterback who is good but not great, and you got a first-year head coach and a first-year OC. It's kind of I don't know. I just don't know. But that's an interesting. Oh, okay. He's joking. Okay. My bad. You had me actually thinking about it. But yeah, what was I saying, G? Oh yeah, you were talking about guys around your feet and all that. So I think there's probably some maybe some mental issue, right? About that, especially coming off an Achilles. You can't. I think it'll take a while before he can step up in the pocket with real confidence and not worry about all that stuff. He's going to be dancing, and I think that's going to get away from his base and his mechanics as a pocket passer. So I think there's a lot to what you just said, and I think it's legit.
Yeah. We didn't get to really see him in preseason. We don't really know what that leg looked like when he stepped out there, but this guy been making a lot of money off his legs as well as his arm, and so it'll be interesting to see which ones will show up. I give it week 8, man. Normally I don't judge things till week 8. I get the defense, the offense time to gel, and then I start making my predictions on who's gonna do what. But that first 8 games, you see a lot of teams fall off, man, and so that's been my mantra the entire time, man, since I was probably 13 watching this sport. That first 8 weeks, you gotta let them get themselves together, man. You never know. The second half of the season, week 8, you see it.
But how you gonna make predictions the second half of the season when you saw half of how it is already? Like that's not a prediction.
How do you make it the first? How do you make it the first week?
That's the whole point. You're making an educated guess based on roster and schedule and that kind of thing.
Week 8, you still got 8 now. You got 9 games that kind of determine who's gonna be what at the end. It's a little easier, yes. It is a little easier to determine, but because at that time you lose quarterbacks, like people in their fantasy drafts, they didn't fell out because they quarterback or number 1 wide receivers isn't around anymore. And so, like for me as a Ravens fan, I give my guys 8 weeks to kind of get themselves together.
Well, I look at it and I say, I just, I make the educated guess at the beginning of the season, kind of based on, I just say assuming health, right? Because that's all we can do. We can't, we can't see the future. We don't have crystal balls, but I say assuming health, then we just kind of take it from there. Now, obviously, we know that it's the NFL, man. People are going to get hurt, but I just think that's the fairest way to make your picks. And really, if you make a pick assuming health and then something crazy happens injury wise, then it is what it is. That's part of the game.
Well, being right. With that criteria, right? Aaron Rodgers, healthy. That's a different story, bro. That's a totally different story. Aaron Rodgers, that's a dominating factor, man. Like, that's 3 to 4 plus wins from the season last year. So now you got like what 10 and.
Oh, that's a good analogy. I like that, Tyler. Check this out. That could be interesting. Huh. If A-Rod goes down there, Jordan Travis standing on the sidelines, that's reminiscent of Flacco passing the torch to Lamar. That is very interesting. I'm just wondering, with Aaron Rodgers having missed the entire season last year, darn near, how much work during camp and all that was Jordan Travis actually getting? And how do we know that after his injury last season at the end of the year, how do we know that he's that he's fully back and ready to go? You know what I'm saying, G? Sure. I think that's the yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. Yeah. 13-0. Nah, I got you, man. And we'll talk about FSU shortly. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at, man. And just, like I said earlier, imagine if Aaron Rodgers can take the Jets on some type of run. Not necessarily a championship run, but maybe a deep playoff run. What that's going to mean, especially in New York City. That's going to be
Jordan
major.
Travis, man, I forgot about Jordan Travis.
I forgot about him too. I forgot about him too.
So
that's a good call.
That been saying, A-Rod catch a cold. That's it for him.
Yeah, everybody can't be Brady and LeBron, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, they don't take him out the pasture. Damn. Nah, man. I think
wild dude, man.
With the criteria, healthy A-Rod, that they'll probably do some things, especially with that defense. And he's not a game manager. He's definitely a playmaker.
Not at all. Yes. And I think that's the difference, man. That defense is elite. So you have an offense that can give them a little bit of help, let them breathe a little bit. That could be a thing. And I think that's what everyone is looking at, Everyone is looking at that. Like, for instance, Legion of Boom with Russell Wilson, right? Russell Wilson was good, but he didn't have to be Superman because he had an all-time great defense. Like we talked about, Trent Dilfer and those guys with the 2000 Ravens. They won that championship. He didn't have to be good. He just had to avoid mistakes. And, you had a great defense that was going to help you. So, granted, the game, again, is different now. It's harder to win that way. But I think that's the spot that they want to be in. Let the defense play and Aaron Rodgers kind of lift the offense above where it has been.
Yeah.
All right, you got any more thoughts before we open these phone lines up?
Not at all.
All right. So, let's get to it, y'all. So, phone number 904-219-8264. Why don't you give us a call with your thoughts on what Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets can be? Obviously, again, assuming health. What do you see this year for former 4-time MVP coming off of that major Achilles injury? And what do you see for the Jets? 904-219-8264. We want to hear from you. Let's go.
You think we should drop it in the chat?
I'm dropping it right now.
Scrolling right there, but you never know.
No, I'm putting it in there right now. I got you.
Yeah, that moves fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. I always talk about competition and not being a coward and not running away. New Breed, what's going on, man? Good to see you in here, bro. Good to see you. I always talk about not running away from competition, man. But like, if you were in the NFL and you were a quarterback and you were getting traded and you had any say, would you want to get traded to the AFC? The AFC is a nightmare, man.
The AFC in terms of quarterbacks is equivalent to the West and the NBA right now, I believe.
Yeah,
even though they say Tatum is the best player in the league right now.
Yo, why nobody says that, man? Why you keep bringing
up
Tatum all the time, man?
I seen that in some polls, man. Actually, KG and that podcast, KG and Paul Pierce, they could not say that he wasn't the best player in the league right now.
So here's the deal. KG and Paul Pierce, who won a championship with the Boston Celtics, couldn't say that Jason Tatum is. There might be a little bias there, bro. Might be some. So
I think they still getting paid.
G, you know me since 06, man. You know I'm a diehard Celtics fan. You know that. But I can't sit here and try to tell you that Jason Tatum is the best player in the league. I can't even say, well, I can't say he's not. Yes, I can say that. He's a great player in this era. He's a champion. I think he's awesome. But no, come on, man. Nobody's going to say.
You're not taking the bait?
I'm not taking the bait. Nobody's going to sit here and try to tell you that. I think he's very skilled. I think he's a very good player. Nobody's going to sit here and try to tell you that. Come on, man. Stop trying to stir the pot, man.
It's fine. About Aaron Rodgers and New Jersey Jets, man. Call in. Tell us your thoughts, man. Or just, use this opportunity as a time to like introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
904-219-8264. We put it in the chat and it's scrolling on the bottom. New breed. Here we go. Oh boy,
absolutely.
Man.
Without question.
Don't get G started. It's not without question, man. Don't do that.
Question, bro.
It's not without question. Yeah. Steve was good. Steve was good. Go Irish, bro. Was good. All right, we got somebody calling from Maryland, from B-More. Let's go ahead and take this. This is the Format Podcast. Who's this?
This is Tyler.
Tyler, what's good, man?
What's up,
going on, bro?
Doing all right.
What's up, G?
Ain't too much, man. Good to see you on here, bro.
Military terminology, bro.
Yeah, it is. There it is.
Danger close. Every time I hear danger close, I think of Andre Villanueva about to get Lamar killed out there. Speaking of bad right tackles,
wow.
Morgan Moses over there. He might for real get A-Rod killed. If A-Rod's gonna falter this year, it's gonna be the O-line. But look, they got Tyron Smith.
They did, and I think they thought that was going to be a big one. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But go ahead.
Yeah, 8-time All-Pro, right? I mean,
I believe so. Yeah.
Fashanu, 11th overall, big O lineman. Word out of campus, he's
Penn
not
State.
Even starting now, so that might be a problem.
Wow.
But he's going to get beat out by Morgan Moses, so you might want to keep the receipt on that draft pick, or get him over to Jacksonville or something like that.
All right. I like that. But so here's the thing, though, or you can look at it from the opposite perspective, right? If Fashanu if he's not starting, then that means that they feel the offensive line is in a good enough position that they're not desperate enough that they have to push the rookie out there right away. You could look at it that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere else for him to go. I mean,
right.
One of the actual good pieces of the line last year, Simpson. He's over there too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams are trying to build Ravens 2.0. You know what I mean? You got the Chargers, you got the Jets.
Yeah. Well,
but,
how John Harbaugh builds teams, though. That's him. That's the old school mentality. That's his dad's mentality. I think his dad was on Bo Schembechler's coaching staff, so they believe in that old school, physical, ground and pound, punish, build it from the inside out type team building structure. So I get it. I see that.
Yeah, and the Jets, you got Saleh. He's kind of he's not necessarily out of the Harbaugh tree,
no,
but he's out of the Harbaugh cloth. He's a strength and conditioning guy, a special teams guy. He's a player's coach, and I think guys talk in the league. You see these winter meetings, you see these owners meetings, things like that. Guys talk in the league, and when you look at the identity of some of these teams, I mean, it's no mistake that you got like 4 Ravens on the offense and 3 Ravens on the defense, and
right.
And you got teams are poaching long snappers, teams are poaching holders, and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Jets got their work cut out for them. But look, here's one. Sorry, I got a fantasy draft going on in the background. But one thing you want to pay attention to is, the old adage: when you're a road team, you get 3 points.
Yes.
Right. The home team gets 3 points. The Jets are only 4-point dogs week 1 at San Francisco.
That says a lot. But
says a lot.
Do you think that line was based on the Vegas being unsure about Trent Williams coming back and Brandon Ayuk, or is that a very recent line?
Yeah, the line moved. It was 4.5. Now it's 4, and that's after they got Trent back and after they got Ayuk back. I think a big part of it is word out of Jets camp. If y'all are on Jets Twitter, every now and then I pop in and see what's going on, just because I've got fantasy drafts and things. I like Breece Hall quite a bit in fantasy this year.
Yeah, he's good. A lot of people are high on him.
Is Breece is going to be the one this year. He's going to be the one. So if you can run against San Fran, you're going to crush them. Look what the Ravens did to him on Christmas.
Yeah, well, we're going to see. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on what you expect from Aaron Rodgers this season?
Father Time has gone undefeated, brother. Father Time is undefeated. Look, I mean, Brady won a Super Bowl at that age,
right?
So it's not unheard of. But that's about it.
Yeah,
that's about it. The list of 40-year-old Super Bowl winners is Tom Brady, and then that's it, I think.
Yes, that's correct.
So you only play to win. The Jets are going to be a good team. They're going to be in a division that has Jacoby Brissett.
That's right.
That has Tua, who's bumped his head one time. He's pretty much done.
And also can't win under 40 degrees.
Yeah. If he comes up to New York, it's pretty much a wrap. And they do play late in the season. If you're looking at the schedule, they do play late in the season. So, last game of the year, they get Miami, and they get Miami in December. So when you're looking at the schedule, kind of shapes up pretty good for them. They host a bunch of West Coast teams. I'm thinking, just like my comment, I'm thinking 10 and 7. They'll sneak in. I think it'll be between them and Tennessee. I think there's probably going to be a 10 and 7 team that doesn't make it.
Okay.
Tennessee's getting slept on. They've got Ridley and Hopkins.
Yep.
Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's going to bounce back now that he's got a lot less pressure. Not everybody can handle the big.
I've never been a Tony Pollard guy. I don't see anything special about that guy. Never did. He needs to be the Lightning and the Thunder and Lightning setup, not RB1. I don't see it.
Yeah, Tajay Spears. He's like a poor man's A-Chain from Miami.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Tajay Spears is going to be very good there too. So Tennessee is going to be right there. But the Jets, I watch a lot of football. Every time I watch the Jets, I kind of have this certain feeling because they've always just been stealing Ravens. You know what I mean? Ever since Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
They've taken our guys, and I guess that's one of their MOs. They've been taking the guys. So it's kind of a rivalry in my eyes, Ravens and Jets. Over the years, it has kind of become one. I know when the Jets were very good. I mean, me and G were overseas together, and I remember watching a Ravens Jets game, and it was hot. It was hot. It was like a Sunday night game, a Monday night game, something like that.
Okay.
And it was. I always think back to that stuff when I look at these teams. These teams have an identity, long term, like the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Jets are scrappy. You can't keep them down. You know what I mean? But
10
and 7 is probably their ceiling. They could bottom out though.
I think
I'd necessarily bet on, but week 1 it's intriguing.
I think as long as Aaron Rodgers is even moderately healthy, I think you're right. They got a very good chance to be around that 10 and 7 mark. And really, I think they can split with Buffalo. I think they can beat New England twice, and they might be able to beat Miami twice. Not so sure about that, but they can split with them. I think if you just go down their schedule, it seems pretty manageable. Don't see them beating Houston at all. I'm really high. I'm very bullish on Houston. Indianapolis. I think if Anthony Richardson is healthy, we saw what Coach Shane Steichen did with Jalen Hurts when he was young in his career. I think he's going to try to emulate that type of development path with Anthony Richardson, and I think that can work. I don't think when Sunday, December 22nd, they play Los Angeles, they host the Rams. I don't think they're going to beat the Rams. McVay is just really good, and the Rams have just a ton of weapons. I think that's a really good football team. But I think you're right. But they might be a little better than that. I think the Jets are going to be okay. Again, health of Aaron Rodgers obviously is key. But if he can be 70% of the Aaron Rodgers that we knew before, I think this can be a very competitive football team.
I think 10-7, you can make the playoffs 10-7.
Well, I think that leaves a lot to what else is going on in the rest of the conference. But I hear you.
Yeah.
Tyler made anything else for us, man?
Tyler made a lot of really good points.
Man, I'll say one more thing before I let Chat kind of take over and get somebody else in here. But look, Spagnuolo. One thing about tomorrow's game, Spagnuolo had our number in the playoffs last year.
Okay.
We ran the ball 8 times.
Yeah, that was terrible. I thought it was six designed runs.
Yeah, bro, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that, bro. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Pardon my interruption. Spagnuolo had a conference today, and he said, we expect them to come out and run. They're going to atone for the sins of the past. I think is what he said.
Right.
And I think I'm happy that he thinks that. I'm happy that he thinks that because I don't think that's the plan. I don't think we, I don't think we went and got Derrick Henry to lean on him early in the year. I think we're getting him to lean on him a little bit later. One thing I'm going to predict right now, Derrick Henry's going to take a screen to the house. Kansas City runs 0. Kansas City runs 0 better and more often than any other team in the league.
Okay.
And Derrick Henry is a cover 0 beater. That signing was not to replace Gus Edwards, not to replace J.K. Dobbins. That signing was for Steve Spagnuolo, right for him. If we can keep, probably the most underrated player in the entire league. Probably nobody's ever heard of him. Mike Dana plays for Kansas City. He's a 51. If you're a ball, if you love ball, you know him, and you're going to watch him tomorrow. Hopefully, now that I brought him up, Mike Dana, number 51, plays edge for Kansas City. If we can keep him at bay, if he has less than a sack, half a sack or less, we're in there.
Right. I think
we might get it.
I think another elite pass rusher you got to watch out for. Obviously, Chris Jones, but they're going to do everything they can to try and contain him. But it's Karlaftis off the edge. I think he's dangerous. I mean, he's been dangerous since he was in college at Purdue. So while most of the time you're going to have to double Chris Jones, if Karlaftis can get some favorable matchups, he can be dangerous as well. So I definitely hear you on that. That's good stuff right there, man.
Yep, cover 0 beater, Derrick Henry. Mark my words, Zay Flowers. He's going to make his return. I'm not a big homer when it comes to analysis, but L'Jarius
not like somebody I know.
I know, and
that's right.
Tatum over here too. But anyway, we got no more L'Jarius Sneed. I don't think anybody here, including anybody in the chat that's not on ESPN, pulling up the depth chart can tell me who the second corner is on this team. I don't even know his name.
Nope.
I've been watching Kansas City in the preseason, because we play them first. But no idea who this guy is going to be. I don't think Spagnuolo knows who the second corner is going to be, and we're gonna torture those defensive backs. They were 32nd.
Trent McDuffie. I'm looking it up right now. Looks like McDuffie.
Yes, McDuffie's their number 1 corner, I believe.
Joshua Williams.
Number 2, I have no idea.
Yeah,
Joshua Williams. Yeah, he bagged my groceries at Wise the other day. You know what I mean? They were 32nd in pass defense last year, and they lost L'Jarius Sneed in free agency.
But what I can tell you about that, though, and the numbers and all that, those are great. But Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best big game defensive coordinators in the history of the sport. I truly believe that. Dick LeBeau, Steve Spagnuolo, obviously Bill Belichick, probably the best of the best. There's a few guys, Buddy Ryan, Rex Ryan, but Steve Spagnuolo is right up there with all of them. He is an outstanding big game defensive coordinator. We've seen it.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yeah, I don't know.
He'll have something lined up.
Week 1 of the season counts as a big game, and last year week 1, the Lions with like the walking wounded, they were missing like 6 starters. The Lions caught Kansas City at home coming off a Super Bowl victory. So,
great point. That's right.
And then the Ravens went on to take that same Lions team and beat them by 40 or whatever it is that we beat them by. So
there you go.
Spagnuolo, he is a genius. He definitely outcoached us in the playoffs. We outcoached ourselves running the ball 8 times.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how many people can do that to Lamar twice? You know what I mean?
No.
Twice in a row, back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Do you give Lamar a 50-50 shot? He's going to beat you more times than he's going to lose.
I agree.
So,
and Todd Monken just better get right with these calls.
City, 1-4 against Kansas City. You can't make light of that. I mean, teams have identities, and they have our number so far.
Right.
If Oweh didn't force that fumble, we'd be 0-5 against Kansas City. So we're 3-point dogs in this game. I'm taking the +3.
Fair enough. There it is. That's a great call, Tyler, man. I appreciate you. That's a great call.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Good
man.
to see you, G.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Stick around. We got some more good stuff coming.
Yeah, that's my dog right there.
All right, team. While we got a second here, I see we got some more people in the chat. Appreciate you if you're here. If you're here, make sure you just go over to the YouTube page, click that like and subscribe on the YouTube page. Really appreciate it. Helps us get the show out to more people and helps us expand this thing. So please make sure you go ahead, click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. I thought this was really interesting. And before I even get started, let me say this. I have no information. I haven't talked to anybody. I have nothing behind this. We're just doing some speculating based on the current situation in college football. And what is that? As you can see by the thumbnail, the topic is could Deion be on the move? And we thought this was a kind of fun discussion. G and I have been talking about this for probably 2 or 3 days now. And it just gets more and more interesting the more I think about it. And I'm thinking about this because I guess there's a number of things behind it, right? Deion Sanders, obviously the most polarizing and one of the biggest names in college football. And he's coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, really has people paying a whole lot of attention to this program. His son, Shedeur, star quarterback. His other son, Shiloh, one of the star cornerbacks. His pretty much adopted son, not actually adopted, but darn near, Travis Hunter, the best two-way player in the country. And so all these guys are going to be gone next year. And the reason I bring this up, number one, Shedeur Sanders has never been coached by anyone other than his father in his football career. I thought that was very interesting. And so there's Steve. Obviously, we have an interesting situation here. Deion Sanders, Florida State Seminole, that's his alma mater. And when they were looking for a head coach during their last coaching search, they didn't reach out to him. They didn't give him an interview. So I don't know how he feels about that or where his mind is about that or where his heart is about that. But Florida State was 13-0 last year. Jordan Travis got hurt, as we saw Tyler saying in the chat earlier. Jordan Travis got hurt. Then they got smoked in the Orange Bowl by Georgia. And now they start off this season after, a whole lot of talk all last offseason about how they got robbed. And they did. Because they earned their shot at the college football playoff. We'd never seen an undefeated conference champion not make, an undefeated Power 5 champion not make the college football playoff. And they got jerked last year. There's no question about it. So you have that. And then they go out, they get smoked, like I said, in the Orange Bowl by Georgia. And then they come back this season after a lot of talk. They're saying, basically they're going to show everyone it's kind of something of a revenge tour. And they go out, they lay an egg against Georgia Tech in Ireland in the week 0 opener. Okay. They come back, they lay another egg in week 1 against Boston College on Labor Day night. And this is crazy. First, you know what? All right, I'm not going to get into breaking that down. We'll save that for the college football show with Ryan Langford. Hopefully tomorrow night we'll be doing that. But anyway, the point here is Mike Norvell is rapidly, his seat is heating up, right? The Florida State head coach, his seat is heating up. Then we see Dabo Swinney. He got smoked by Georgia in the opener for Clemson, 34-3 on Saturday afternoon. His seat is heating up because after a very long, a 6 or 7 year stretch where we saw him in the college football playoff, 5 or 6 times, including 2 national championships, all of a sudden Clemson doesn't look the same. Dabo Swinney has been outspokenly against NIL. He doesn't want these players to get compensated. He's also very outspoken, refuses to utilize the transfer portal, which is rapidly becoming the lifeblood of modern college football and college basketball. And to some extent, we're seeing what that stubbornness is leaving out on the field. And Clemson looks like they're in big trouble. So I guess my thought on this was, when you look at everything that's going on here, Clemson's in trouble. Florida State's in trouble. Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter, all off to the NFL after this year. Could the Dallas Cowboys or the Clemson Tigers or the Florida State Seminoles be possible landing spots for Deion Sanders? All right, G, I've been talking for a minute. Go ahead, man. Give us your thoughts on this.
Man, if I had to give it a go, I would say Cowboys won, right? Just with the whole the love affair with Shedeur and the Cowboys. Even though Dak is about to get signed, right?
Yeah, I think, that's what we're hearing. That's what we're hearing.
I think we definitely need to. If I'm a Cowboys fan and I'm Jerry Jones, I'm definitely looking at possibly trying to trade up to get Shedeur, right? But with Shedeur comes his dad. And so I'm on the fence between that being a number one, because I mean you can imagine, like as soon as Deion runs into some type of adversity, right? Like you saw with Jackson State, he bailed. And now with the media, we starting to see him like, all right, now the media is starting to come at him. Now his son is about to leave. Why do I need to deal with this? And you might see him in a NFL uniform with the Dallas Cowboys as their head coach, just because of that. Like that might just be enough for him to say, you know what, like these NFL coaches don't go through the type of scrutiny that a college coach go through. And so my number 2 would be FSU, his alma mater, right? And then Clemson at the third, just because Florida State has been getting killed, and they talk about how weak they are. This will give him like the opportunity to get that better player, that solid run game, that offensive line. And so, I mean, he's probably going to go wherever his son goes, and I think the NFL will probably be the next best thing for him, just in that journey, right? Because that shows he dominated dominated as, can't really say as a college coach, because Colorado's been they've really been crap, bro. Like, but as far as that game plan, like his plan, it'll probably work in 3 to 4 years. You'll see them on top, but walking in, like you definitely need more than 2 years to dominate in the NCAA arena. Like, there's no way they're gonna come out and just dominate. Like, that's a 3 to 4 years. His son is gone, or maybe it is. I'm not really sure, but right now I think Dallas will probably be the best next move for him, just because this, it used to be the greatest show on earth, right? Some shit like that. I don't know, but now it's just like they need an identity.
They're just on turf.
Oh, okay, the Rams. All right.
Yeah, you think about the Rams. Yeah.
America's team, right? Right. This is our year. Sorry, America's team. This is our year.
This is our year. I know, right?
One of those, catchy phrases. But I think if you are you definitely looking and hoping that you get Shedeur at the quarterback position, even though he hasn't won shit, right? You just getting another Dak.
I think he's better than Dak already.
I don't think he won enough. That's our thing, right? I don't think he's won enough.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. First thought: if you're Shedeur, do you really, and you get drafted to the NFL? Let's just say to the Cowboys, right? And we know Deion won championships with the Cowboys. Would you want your dad to go there with you? Like, at what point you gonna be your own man? Like, he's been your coach ever since you started playing football. At what point are you going to be your own man and show that you can do your thing without him? That's kind of weird to me, don't you think? Everywhere he goes, he's got to be joined at the hip with his dad. That's not a little odd to you?
He's rich because of his dad. I'm not saying that he's not
but
going to
at
be his
some point you
own
got to be your
man.
own man,
But,
though.
I don't know. He's a man now, right? And he's playing on his dad. And we
Yeah, but
probably
you know
wouldn't
what I'm
even
trying to
listen.
say, though.
You think he's on his dad's coattail?
No, because he's really, really good. This is not
He's
Bronny we're
really,
talking
really
about.
good, right? And he
He's
wouldn't be
really, really
afforded.
good.
He probably wouldn't be that good without his dad.
Yeah, no, I get that. In terms of the opportunities his father has afforded him, in terms of like being able to train with Tom Brady and all that, I get it. But at some point, like, your dad's not going to be your coach, right? Your dad can't be your guide through every second of your life. Like, that's just kind of like, really? That's how it looks to me. But okay.
I don't know. He could be a Trevor Lawrence, right? He could end up at the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that's probably never going to win any fucking thing, right?
Jags ain't doing
he could
that.
be in a bad situation, and so like, yeah, he needs his dad's connection, so to make sure he doesn't get in that situation where he's at the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Seattle Seahawks or Seattle one, but Denver or something like that, like a team that's like constantly rebuilding and can never put anything in place because they either get rid of their coach or they get rid of their quarterback. And so I think that the Cowboys is a team that is known for longevity in this day that we in like the last 10 years or so. They haven't been having like multiple teams and multiple head coaches or multiple quarterbacks, right? As far as it can go, like, and so no, man, you're in the NFL, you don't need your dad to fall back. Yeah,
That's kind of how I see it. But
yeah, I mean that's a valid point too. But at the same time, it's like we've seen this happen before, right? We've seen this with LeBron and his son Bronny, right?
yeah, but
We've
Bronny
seen it.
needed that. I don't think Shedeur needs that. He's a way better football player than Bronny is a basketball player. Would you agree?
He's never won anything though. Shedeur hasn't won nothing yet.
Yeah, but okay, let's put it this way. How's Shedeur
4
going to
games
win
last year, bro?
Hold on. How's he going to win when he got sacked 52 times last year and that led to FBS? The apparatus is not around him, but you have seen how skilled this dude is. Like, we can't say that about Bronny. That is not an apples to apples comparison. Not at all.
That is apples and apples. That is.
Absolutely
that is.
not. Absolutely
I'm
not.
gonna tell you why. It is a circus, and the Lakers is a circus. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Cowboys has been a circus for a long time, man. Like, they'll get there, and then we didn't make it. And then the Lakers has been a circus for the last since LeBron been there. And I hate to compare basketball to football, but I think they have the same personality when it comes to like the sport. Like, we'll be okay with winning if we have a certain player that's going to produce the numbers and fill the seats, put ass in the seats. We'll be okay with losing at the end. I just think that's how it is. I'm not like a Cowboy fan. I'm damn sure not a Lakers fan. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think it really matters if you never won anything. And both of them players, granted, yeah, like, I think Shedeur is definitely a better player than Bronny to this point right now, right? But at the same time, neither one of them has won anything, and it's hard to do that on a basketball level. It's really hard. It's really hard to compare basketball to football as far as stats. But that's all we've been seeing. Neither one of those players has raised or hoisted any trophies that I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I get that point. But what I'm saying is, Shedeur, you can see watching these two play, like, you can see that Shedeur is a great player. He needs more, right? And not needs more like LeBron needs more, but actually needs more. Like, he needs an O-line that can keep him upright, or he needs an offense that actually wants to run the football or is capable of running the football. Bronny, all right, we're not going to turn this into a Bronny thing, but the point is, if you're making that comparison, I just think it's disingenuous. That's apples to oranges. That is not the same thing, because Shedeur is, for instance, even if we look at him in their respective sports as prospects, Shedeur is a way higher prospect than Bronny was. We know that if Bronny wasn't LeBron James Jr., he doesn't get drafted. We also know that if he stays healthy, Shedeur Sanders is a top 10 draft pick in the NFL, right? We know that. That should tell you something. But okay, so the reason why I'm iffy on Deion possibly to the Cowboys is because Jerry Jones loves the attention. He loves the limelight. And I don't know if he's willing to have a guy there, i.e. Deion, who is a bigger personality and would take more of the attention than him. That's the whole reason he got rid of Jimmy Johnson. And Jimmy Johnson wasn't even trying to get the there you go, Steve. Absolutely. Jimmy Johnson wasn't even trying to get the attention, but because it was taking away from Jerry Jones getting the attention, he fired him. And he probably could have won a couple more chips, right? That's Jerry Jones' mentality. Me, look at me. It has to be about me, right? And so that's why I don't think that Deion is the good fit there. And I don't know that Jerry Jones would hire him. Jerry Jones is like, nah, I'd rather lose than have this dude come here and take all the limelight. That's
he won a chip with Dallas, correct?
Who's that?
Deion.
Yes.
So he in that wheelhouse. Yeah, as a player, he's in that wheelhouse. Yeah. And so he's won. They haven't had a coach to win in that uniform since shit. I don't even know. I don't even know if they ever even had a player
95
won. 95.
95 is the last time they won a championship. Yeah.
95. Yeah, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, I think that'd be a perfect fit because he's already been on that roster, on Jerry Jones' roster.
Yeah, I don't know, man. As a coach and with this much attention and as a coach with this much attention and this much what's the word I'm looking for? And that much personality, that will, again, it will take away from Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones he doesn't want that. That's why I think that Dallas isn't a good look. Clemson, if Dabo Swinney gets fired or decides to leave that job, Clemson, I think, would be a great fit for Deion. Why? Because Deion is familiar with the region, right? This whole Southeast region. South Carolina is a couple hours away from Florida. Deion's a Florida guy. He can recruit this area heavily, right? Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, all that. He can recruit all that. He played in Maryland, so he can recruit the Tidewater. He can recruit the DMV, right? He can do all that. He obviously played with the Falcons. He can recruit Georgia heavily. He played at FSU, Florida. So he knows this whole region, Mid-Atlantic, all the way down, SEC country and all that. So recruiting would be no problem for him. And we just talked about one of the biggest issues of Colorado, right? The trenches, the big boys, the offensive line and the defensive line. Well, if you get the job at Clemson, that's pretty much ready-made for you, right? You don't have to rebuild it nearly as much as you would as you have had to at Colorado. So now Deion knows the area. He can grab all the skill guys. You already got the most important part done, the trenches. So now you add on the skill guys. That could be dangerous if he could get that job. Now, would Clemson hire Deion? We don't know. I don't believe they've ever had a black head coach before. So that's kind of like, I don't know. Not saying they wouldn't, but sometimes it's hard to break tradition, I guess. I'm not saying it's their tradition not to hire black head coaches, but they've never had one. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But yeah, that would be a great fit if they're smart, and they would be in contention, especially with a 12-team college football playoff now. They'd be in contention immediately if they were to hire Deion, right? And my last one, I think, is Florida State. I think that's huge. I think Florida State, obviously, that's his alma mater. I didn't even think about that. Darryl Stewart, what's good, man? Florida, yeah, that's huge. That's a big one because Billy Napier, I don't believe is going to make it through the season with the Gators. But let's see. Where was I? So Florida State would be huge if Mike Norvell gets fired. Again, he's got the recruiting. He's alum. It would just be a perfect fit. They're already big in the trenches, so that wouldn't be an issue to develop that part out. It's just grabbing the skill players and getting the quarterback right. Why? Because the reason Florida State's in the problem they're in now is because they paid the wrong quarterback in the transfer portal, DJ Uiagalelei. They tried to get Cam Ward, but he said he was going to go pro, then he decided not to, and by the time he came back around, Florida State had already gotten DJU out of the portal. So that's the problem. They got a quarterback issue, major quarterback issue. But overall, I think those are great potential spots for Deion. Now, I was talking to my other boy about this. He was saying that if Colorado is smart, they'll go ahead and extend Deion now in order to keep him there. But I'm saying if I'm Clemson and Florida State or whoever, right, or even Florida, right, with, like we said, Billy Napier's probably not going to last the season, you should already be reaching out to Deion's representatives quietly. Like, hey, what's it going to take to get him here? You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on that, G?
I don't know. I just go back to the whole Deion and the Cowboys thing. I think if we look at like how that contract is scheduled, I don't believe he's going to stay in the NCAA, the collegiate level, only because his son is leaving and he's been following his son since the beginning of the time. I think that at now it's a family business, as they call it, right? And so wherever dad goes, or wherever the son goes, they also go. Even if he say, "Oh yeah, I don't want to coach grown men." Is at some point like the media can make it distasteful for you and uncomfortable, to constantly like being picked on and not necessarily picked on, but targeted, right, for things inside. You don't have to play those games as a grown man. And I think when you start looking at the NFL and how coaches are kind of appreciated in the NFL, you'll see something different. And I think that'll be a lot more appropriate and or appealing to Deion. We're talking about a Hall of Fame coach going back to the team that he won a chip with.
No, we're talking about a Hall of Fame player who is now coaching. That's two different things. You said a Hall of Fame coach. He's not that. He's a Hall of Fame player.
I said a Hall of Fame player. Absolutely. Right. And then going back to coach.
Okay.
Right. And actually turning the organization around. I think that's more appealing than it would be just constantly coaching and having to worry about where you're gonna get NIL money from. I just see a difference like that. Just think about that as a father, to be able to coach your son in the NFL, right? That is, you might not understand it, but on the highest level of sports known to man, you get to coach your boy. Like that is probably like the same way. I don't know if it's the same thing as playing with your son on the highest stage, but it got to be goddamn close, right? Like it has to be close, because as fathers, and we definitely going to be a lot more protective on what happens to our kids, and the easiest way to do that is to be right there on the sideline with him.
No, but that's when your kid is a kid. When they're a grown man, you kind of gotta let them. You gotta let them live. But
how old is Shedeur?
Shedeur's got to be 21 or 22 now.
21. So 25. 25. You're a grown man. You develop, and then you can go on your life and do whatever you want. At 21, 22, you still at whoever decides to coach him, it's still gonna be like his dad. Think about it. These young players don't really get say.
Again, G, at what point is Shedeur going to... All right, man. Cool. We see this different, but that's all right.
25. I'm just telling you, man, like these things, these constants doesn't change because you reach the NFL. The constants doesn't change. If his father can have reach now, he going to have reach then. Like, that's just how it is.
That's cool if he has reach, but we don't need him on the sidelines with him all the time, right? And think about this, too. Sometimes playing under multiple coaches makes you a better player, because you learn different things from different people instead of hearing the same voice all the time for your entire life. Of course, your father is one of the most important voices you can hear. I totally get that. But there is value to having different leadership, across time and learning from different people. But it is what it is. Tyler says Deion has a relationship with Phil Knight and Nike. If Lanning continues to struggle, Deion might sneak in. So I think Lanning is building something pretty good there at Oregon, and there's no indication whatsoever Dan Lanning is on the hot seat. He just signed a large extension this past offseason, I think, when his name kind of surfaced in the Alabama coaching search rumors before Kalen DeBoer took the job. So Oregon made sure they locked him up. I don't see them. I don't anticipate him being in any trouble whatsoever. Where are we? Yes, Steve, I agree. This idea that the media is against Deion is one side. He's got to thank you. Ton of positive push from the media as well. The problem is, for all the hype originally generated, the team isn't good. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Like, it's killing me when I'm hearing people complain about, the media is going at Deion, the media is after Deion. Like, I don't know why people can't understand that Deion also looks for that media attention. That's him. He loves the attention, but you can't just have it both ways, right? With the positive attention and the love that he craves and deserves, let me make that clear. At the same time, there's going to be some negative when the results don't match the hype. It's that simple. So I don't know where we get this. The media is against Deion or the media is going after Deion. I think that's total BS. Another great point. Why does someone with Shadur's talent need to hold his dad's hand into the pros? That's a fact. That's a fact.
Make sure you post what I said as well. We're gonna look back at this like we did so many other times. You're like, damn, G was right. That's what we're gonna do, and this is what's gonna happen, man. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing. Like, I'm telling you, depending on this type of contract that Dak signed, we'll see. We'll see.
All right,
it's definitely a reach, but we'll see. I'm trying to tell you. I'm not saying I got no insight on anything.
Yeah. Right. Those
constants never change, man. They never change.
Right, but all I'm saying is, and I love the fact that Deion is involved with his son's lives and that he's been a constant in their lives. That's fantastic. Been a role model and all that. I get it. But at some point, you got to let go. Like, at some point, you got to let go. You got to let him be a man.
It's a family business, bro. They both getting a check, bro. Deion is getting a check, right? Deion needs a check. Shador needs a check. Shador's getting a check. He just signed with Nike, right? He just signed a deal with Nike, right?
Yes,
so he's getting paid, right? He's getting paid.
I think he's got the highest NIL valuation.
Yes. And so he just building his base. Granted, it may take 2 years, all right, cool. But I guarantee you'll see Deion on the highest level coaching. I don't think he's gonna stop at NCAA. No,
I don't see it. And just on the strength of Deion he's an ultimate competitor, and he's gonna get pissed when he sees guys getting paid a lot of money and not giving the effort. And the thing is, in college, you could pull a scholarship and basically tell somebody, get up out of here, somebody else coming in taking your spot. You're dealing with grown men that are under contract. That's a lot harder to do. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's gonna work. When you're think about it, how many all-time great players in whatever sport make great coaches? It rarely happens. It rarely happens.
That doesn't mean it can't happen, though. I mean, that doesn't mean it can't happen. That's not what we want to see. But at the same time, that doesn't mean he can be the first. That's Deion.
Look, I'm not saying it can't happen. Bill Russell wasn't a good head coach. He wasn't bad. He wasn't good, right? Not nearly as great as his talent as a player. Magic Johnson wasn't a good head coach. Isaiah Thomas was a so-so head coach, average, maybe a little above average. A lot of all-time great players did not make great head coaches. Lenny Wilkins, he's top 50, and he was a very, very good coach. So he might be the best former. I was about to say Phil Jackson, but Phil Jackson was a role player at best. Like, the best players just don't make great coaches. They just don't.
That's crazy work.
But do you know why that is?
You know why we're going to allow it? Because this is part of the internet now. And we're going to all go back. And as soon as it happened, I'm going to go right back to this episode. Steve, who else on here? Let me see. Who else? As soon as it happened, I'm going to go right back in and I'm going to call y'all out. Don't disappear because it's going to happen, bro. Like, I'm trying to tell you.
I got no problem if I'm wrong. I'll say, hey, I was wrong. Okay. I don't see it, man. And even still, even if it happens, that doesn't make it good. That to me says, again, at what point does this grown man step out of the shadow onto his own? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, why not? They both getting paid. It's a family business.
What does that have to do with getting paid? They would both be getting paid if they were separate, though. They would still both be getting paid.
That's facts.
So what's the point? Saying they both getting paid?
I think what we're doing is
easy, Steve. Whoa.
I ain't going nowhere, G.
He did say pause, though.
LOL.
He did say pause.
Whoa.
Yikes. Yikes.
Next slide. So what we'll do is
Steve, that was bad.
I don't think that what Deion is doing is to stay in college football. I think all this is a build up so he can perform on the highest stage because that's a Deion thing. Now I'm not saying that. This was a hypothetical right here with us. Saying that Dallas just because there's been a lot of hinting. There seemed like that'll be a good spot for him based off of coaching and Jerry Jones, right? He's a big deciding factor on this, and he hinted that he would want Shador as a starting quarterback when what was this, last year? I think last year, something like that.
Yeah,
he wasn't opposed to it.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, he hinted this. So you got to expect that package deal is going to happen. And if you don't, you're crazy. Because if Jerry Jones wants something, 9 times out of 10, Jerry Jones is going to get it.
Son, this is not the NBA. This is not the NBA. I can't see it. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying I can't see it.
I mean, it ain't like these guys hoisting trophies in the air. You know what I mean? Like they haven't won anything. This tandem hasn't won anything. But one thing for certain, two things for sure. You put CD Lamb next to Shador, he's gonna be able to have that 400 yard game time and time again. Like you put the right pieces around him, with the proper line, he's gonna be able to do those things.
Right.
Yeah. And
but again, does he need Deion to do that? No.
No one said he needed Deion to do it. It's not about a Deion thing. It's not about a Deion thing.
Then why are you so adamant that Deion got to go with him?
I just said it's a family business, and we shouldn't be surprised if that would come to pass. I just don't believe the NCAA will do anything for him to the point where he would want to stay and not coach his son. That's wild. If he's been there the whole time, it's gonna take some money, like especially knowing that he can bring in his programs can bring in the money that it brings in for these schools. Like, he had it's a golden ticket when it comes to Deion. I just don't see why, from a Jerry Jones perspective, he would be like, oh yeah, what does the NFL make money off of? Putting ass in seats, right? If you can put ass in seats in the collegiate level, you can do it on the NFL level. That's the only thing I'm saying. And what better way to do it is just to bring both of them in. You know what they're gonna get paid. That's the only thing I'm saying. From a business perspective, right? The popularity that Deion brings, it puts ass in the seats. And any coach in the NFL, we can put 3 other teams on it. It's still gonna be the same effect. Like if he decides to go anywhere after this season,
I agree.
He'll have free reign because they saw like, okay, on the collegiate level, he can do these things. They can pay more on the NFL level for coaches, and so this guy is really about the bag.
But they generally don't, though. That's the weird thing. They can, but they generally don't. That's
Jerry will. Odd. That's why we had Jerry. Jerry will.
And I don't know that he will, because that's going to take away attention from him. That's the part you're missing. Jerry has to have the attention. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look, hey, radio show after every game. After every game, they go, half of the media goes to talk to the players and the coach. The other half goes looking for Jerry because they know they're going to get a soundbite. It's crazy. Every game. Every Monday, Jerry Jones got a freaking radio show. Like, what owner does that? You didn't hear recently when he was asked about, if Dallas would be better off if they brought somebody in to run the football operations as a GM. And he was basically like, there's nobody that could do this stuff better than me. I'm like, are you for real, bro? You for real? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jerry has to have the attention. He has to be in the spotlight. And a guy like Deion will take that from him. So I don't believe that he has any interest in that. That's me. I could be wrong, but that's me.
I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if you see Deion and Shador on the sidelines of some NFL team. Because, like I said, they're a package deal.
I would be disappointed.
And they both sell out.
I'll be disappointed if I saw that. For Shador, not so much Deion, but for Shador.
Well, he was with Jackson State, right?
Yep.
Right. What happened there? They left, right?
Yeah. I'm not.
What was the narrative? The narrative was like, yo, I'm just here to coach my son. That was pretty much the narrative.
And what I'm saying is, I would be disappointed in Shador, because at some point you have to want to be your own man and step out of that shadow. But we're going in circles here, man. Anything else before we go ahead and open up these phone lines?
No, that's it. We're gonna archive this.
Yeah, you do that. Archive that. All right, so I'm gonna put this in the chat: 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. I'd love to get your take on this. Deion Sanders, possibly where he could end up next season. Does he follow Shador Sanders to the NFL, like G's saying, as a package deal? And what do you think about that if he did? What college situations are right for him? By the way, quick note, I think they're going to lose to Nebraska and Matt Rule on Saturday. I think that's I think they're going to take that L. But Yeah, go ahead, give us a call, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Let's go. Yeah, G, I think Nebraska is going to beat them on Saturday. I don't think they're going to beat the brakes off them, but I think they're going to beat them. Nebraska's defense is legit. The young kid Dylan Raiola is legit. I think it's going to be a good game, but yeah. And Nebraska owes them one from last year at Boulder. And I think also the Colorado has to find a way to effectively run the football and take some pressure off Shedeur. They have to, because he's going to keep getting killed if they can't run it, because they have a lot of deep passing concepts, and he's got to hold the ball just long enough for his guys to get downfield. And that is also what's lending to him getting lit up by the pass rush. And the O-line hasn't yet shown that they can protect him.
Exactly.
What we got from Steve, Nebraska might torch that defense.
It's clearly a popularity contest, just like the Cowboys. It's all popularity. I'm not a Cowboys fan, so let's
but what does that have to do with what happens on the field between the lines? So
no doubt. I honestly don't believe that he has the personnel to defend against a lot of these teams that they're gonna have to face. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have it. That's not his fault, right? That he's not getting the players. It's just like it's not the other team's fault for not having the players. The dynamics of like recruiting changed. The portal changed. Like now you trade portals. Now players want to get paid. You seen the great one just quit. He was like, "That's it. I had enough. I'm done." He on the sideline. And so when you ask me why not, I'm like, what is he really saying? Like when he say why not? Like we seen Nick Saban say, "All right, that's it. This landscape is too hard to maneuver." This landscape, we go at it all the time. This landscape is too hard to maneuver. I'm cashing my chips in.
I understand the point that you're making, and I don't completely disagree. However, you can't call a 7-time national champion could walk away anytime he wants to. Like you can't use Nick Saban as an example. You can't. You just can't.
Yes, you can. And I'm gonna tell you why. Right. In an era where there was no NIL, you think he got all those players cleanly?
Of course not. You know what? Let me be clear.
Allegedly,
right.
Allegedly, right? Allegedly, and so
doing things
we introduce the fact that you can now pay players, right? You can now pay players. Now the landscape changed, right? And the advantage is not in my favor. So you know what? I don't like anything about this. I'm going to Congress. I'm gonna testify at Congress on how bad this is, even though I done had the best players, for the last 10 years. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, bro. See, all right, you be trolling just like I be trolling, but it's okay. I'm gonna let you live, bro.
I'm not. But I'm not saying you're 100% wrong. All I'm saying is I wouldn't use a 7-time national champion as an example, because that dude has earned the right to walk away whenever he feels like it. I get what you're saying, but
but not like that, bro. Like not like that. Not going kicking and screaming at Congress. Like, nah, you don't do that. If you're gonna bow out, you bow out gracefully. You don't go and say, "Oh yeah, this is a failure," and then people start digging up your stuff. But I'm not gonna do that. This is all allegedly, just like this whole Deion's on the move thing. It's kind of hypothetical.
Man, we're just hypothetical, spitballing, talking that.
Spitballing, man. But at the same time, bro, like it's like, yeah, you can, like Steve said, oh yeah, it's definitely the coach's fault. All right, this is a 2-year program, right? Like this is a 2-year program. What are we really expecting, right? Some D3 walk-ons to be your starting left tackle. I'm sorry, left and right tackle. Let's go there. Two D3 walk-ons as your starting left tackle. No offense to the D3 walk-on, but the thing that I'm saying,
what's up with that?
Yeah. The thing that I'm saying is like it takes time to build players, man, and a lot of times, it's by chance that you get those players. It just so happened that Nick just get the best players every year, man, and that could just be. It could be it could be money. It could just be, people want to fall in that, the SEC, the Bama, like, you're going to the league. But at the same time, we heard time and time again, like it takes money. It takes money so these kids can play and only play football and go to school, man. And so to say that they wasn't getting maybe a nice refund check at the end of the year is, man, come on, man. That's asinine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick definitely went away, and I was disappointed in him, for testifying in Congress. He pretty much was kicking and screaming. I don't know if you guys had a opportunity to kind of look at that, but if you're an Alabama fan, Roll Tide, I'm sorry you had to hear this, but I'm just calling how I see it. The dude definitely was kicking and screaming in Congress about how unfair it is now that the parents just want money, 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 money. What can you do for me? Because they know his hand was out. Like it was like, all right, how much you need? No questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think I'm on. I'm gonna get off this soapbox so we can open up this line and folks can call in, man, if they choose.
Yeah, looks like we're not gonna get any calls on this one, man. It's definitely yeah. So all right, we can move it to the next topic. That's cool.
No, we're gonna put this in the archives. We're gonna reopen this next year. Well, depending on what happens with Dak, right? Like what the type of contract he signed. If he signed one of those contracts that
that's true. That's true. I'm bringing my luggage with me, and it's Louis. That was what he said in his opening press conference, I believe. Either his opening press conference or his opening meeting with the team. I'm bringing my luggage, and it's Louis. Some of y'all not going to make it. Some of y'all not going to be here. Yeah, that's true. This is interesting. I can see Shedeur on the team in the NFC South. Derek Carr is about to be out. Maybe, but Spencer Rattler is waiting in the wings, and I think they're going to need to see something from him to see what he does or what he doesn't do before they say, okay, we're going to go ahead and draft another guy to be the quarterback of the future. So we'll see. All right. You ready, G?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move on to the next topic. That's the big one. The opening night in the NFL, the 2023 AFC Championship game rematch, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Correction, versus the defending two-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. All right. So, you know what? I'm going to let G go ahead and open up on this. G, take it away, my man.
Yeah, well, I think we, just based off what we talked about earlier, we started looking at like who's starting where, right? Like we get to see Nate Wiggins. We talked about Patrick Mahomes and what he's been able to do over the previous years versus Lamar. John Harbaugh coming out saying that Lamar is going to be the best quarterback to ever play the game when it's all said and done. Those are really good sound bites.
It was hyperbole from his coach, and I respect that.
And I loved it. Right? Like it was the best thing I ever heard, to that day, So it's been a lot of hype this offseason, a lot of changes that the Ravens was able to accomplish. Getting Mr. Henry.
That's a big one. That's a
huge man. That's a big one, man. With us only running the ball, I think less than 6 or 7 times.
6 times. Six called runs in the AFC Championship game.
A lot of turnovers.
The number one rushing team in the league. That was absurd.
Wait, a really well. So even with that, like with Mr. Harbaugh coming out and saying, what, this year we want Lamar to be more involved in the play calling. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, so he's gonna get audible approval now. So he's able to he'll be able to change the calls at the line of scrimmage, or he'll be able to look at the game plan and say, all right, I don't think we need to do this. Let's throw this out. Let's toss this out. So he'll be more involved in the plays that's called against those. And I think you need that, man. Like not only do you have that signal call on the sideline, but then you also have the quarterback that's able to lead. And then he of course he doubled down and said, Lamar's going to be the greatest quarterback that ever played the game. I mean, with a big, pancake pat in the backfield, with a King Henry, and a power eyes, crazy with the double tight end set, man, that's going to be nuts. And so it'll be really, really interesting to see how this KC and Ravens game goes into play, because you can look at if you've been watching the Ravens for a while, you can tell that like Lamar is really, really locked in, man. Like he came to camp, then like he never stopped working out from the day they lost to the. It's gonna be scary, man. A lot of people ain't gonna be able to accept it. The AFC North is a dog fight in itself.
It is.
It just so happened like the first head that we get to cut off is Patrick Mahomes. But at the same time, if I look at the defense, I see we got a couple young up and coming players. I don't think we starting Nate Wiggins tomorrow. I think we'll probably see Marlon Humphreys and Brandon Stevens on that right side. Marlon Humphreys on the left. The safety game, Kyle Hamilton, we'll probably see him. He got torched last year, so I look forward to him seeing how he steps
didn't
up.
Get torched. He
Yeah,
didn't get torched.
That's what you saw. What I saw was a torching. I saw a tutorial. I saw a tutorial. Right, a lot of times it's not uncommon for the tight end and the safety to be matched up. It's not uncommon. That's just not uncommon because a lot of times your linebackers can't do it. But at the same time, there's no more Patrick Queen. Trenton Simpson. He's pretty solid, man, out there. I like to see the young kid play because he's super solid. And, he can make all the tackles. I'm not really sure about his pass coverage, and I guess that'll be tested tomorrow. But David Ojabo, I think he's just coming off. Is it Ojabo or
Ojabo?
Ojabo, right? Ojabo. This is money year, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, this is money year. And so
he played
got
last year. He was hurt. He was hurt his rookie year. He played last year, but it wasn't great. So now, but a lot of times they say that it's that second year coming off the ACL that you really see a player fully back to what they were prior to the injury.
Yeah. Adafe started though. He's starting on that side. Yeah, man. I think we super solid, man. Michael Pierce back, nose tackle. Met a BK, big guy, and defense look good, man. Like I think we got better from last year, man.
I mean, it always does, right?
We'll get to see what the damage is done. I think the only thing we got better at a linebacker with Trenton Simpson. We got younger, right? Patrick Queen was, and sometimes he was deemed a liability, especially when it comes to like prior to Roquan coming in. We seen Big Dog come in and take his food, and we like to see that. As a Raven, we like to see that. But I think in the beginning, for me, we looked at Patrick Queen as the second coming of Ray Lewis. That check bounced on us, and
I never looked at that. I never saw it that way.
That check bounced on us, and we was able to get Roquan. But when you think about Ravens football, Ray Lewis has been a staple. He's been a staple since almost the beginning, right? Since the murder charge, he's been there doing this thing. And so, to see a Roquan come in and heavy tackle, meet you in the hole, and just take pride in hitting running backs. And so, it's just gonna be interesting, man. I look forward to this game tomorrow. I get to see I think I covered everybody except for Zay Flowers, man, and his turnover. I'm curious to see how this young man is going to bounce back from last year. That one play, if he let that one play kind of, and I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. I think he's, that's as we talked earlier, that's an extra 10 sets. I mean, an extra 10 reps, right? That's a whole nother set. At the end of the day, you get something to train for. And so I think everybody's going to come in hungry facing these guys. I think we steamroll them tomorrow, just because the game means nothing to the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's everything to us.
So I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Chiefs are on a mission as well. I think they truly believe they can three-peat, and I think that they want it badly, especially if they do it. They're the first team ever to do it. And we've seen them able to get additional weapons to be able to reinvigorate the passing game, which was kind of lackluster in terms of going downfield last year. So I totally get that. You're looking at the Chiefs and you're saying, obviously, you got the best quarterback in the game in Pat Mahomes, and you're able to run the ball effectively. You don't have a Derrick Henry, but you can run the ball effectively with Pacheco. Then you have receivers. You saw what's my man's name that dropped all those passes during the year, but then caught the winner in the Super Bowl. Oh man, I can't remember his name. I'll tell you right now. Wide receiver, not McCall Hardman. All right, but I'll come back to it. But the point is, they've
You talking about
up there.
Marquise? You talking about? You're not talking about Rasheed Rice or Xavier Worthy, right? Tony.
No. Xavier Worthy's a rookie out of Texas. I was getting to him. He's the speedster that broke the combine 40 record. Kadarius Toney. Okay, there you go, Tony. Yes. So he dropped those passes all year long, and then he catches the one to win it all. So, you've got that. You've got Mercole Hardman, who's a speedster, but more of a gadget guy, but he's a speedster. So you can continue to go down the field. Xavier Worthy. They got Hollywood Brown, who I don't think he's going to play tomorrow. I think he's got a shoulder injury. But the point is, they have upgraded their receiving core to allow for Pat Mahomes to do more Pat Mahomes things and get down the field more and get back to having that explosive level of offense. And the other thing that I was talking about when Tyler called in earlier was Steve Spagnuolo being one of the best big game play callers as a defensive coordinator, maybe in NFL history. He's just really, really good. And even though regular season games, I'm not saying that they don't try to win, but regular season games don't seem to be as much of a big deal to the Chiefs as they are maybe to some other teams, because they're so battle tested in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. They know that when the rubber meets the road, that they believe they're going to win every one of those games. And then the fact is, doing that, they were on the road the whole time, right? No, they had the first playoff game at home last year. Then they went to Buffalo in the divisional. Then they went to Baltimore in the AFC title game. So winning those 2 playoff games on the road, that was the first time they've had to do that en route to going to a Super Bowl. So they did that. So now they know that they can go on the road and win. So yeah, they're going to want to win, especially on ring night, and they're playing at home in front of their crowd to start the new season and all that. But something tells me, I just feel like it's less important to them than it's going to be to the Ravens. And it's in Kansas City. So that's a tough one. I can't even pick that game. I think the Ravens are probably going to pull out a win. I think, but it's going to be a tough one. And the Chiefs are just that good, man. And I think there's also something to be said of being a team that knows exactly what it takes to win it all. And that's a dangerous team to go up against. They're a lot more loose. The nerves aren't there. They know they have done it, and they know what it takes to do it. So it's going to be a tough one. And Mahomes is Mahomes. He's that dude. Lamar is that dude, just in a different way. It's going to be an exciting game. This is one we've been waiting all freaking off season for, and I want to see. One of the biggest things for me is not necessarily how Lamar Jackson plays, but how Baltimore OC Todd Monken calls the game, because I think he really let down his team. And in fairness, John Harbaugh should have been more on that coaching staff. Hey, I want to see what you got here. We were the number 1 running team all year, and this is your plan? Nah, scrap that. We're not going away from that until Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense can prove that they can stop it. We're going to run. I don't know what possessed Todd Monken to decide that he was going to try to be something that he's not in that game last year. I don't get it. And I'm kind of one of those dance with who brung you types, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it types. If it's working, stay with it until it doesn't work anymore. So I really can't understand for the life of me why they decided that they need to go away from everything, they being the Baltimore Ravens, from everything that got them to that point all season long. It's we want to prove a point now. We want to show you that we can, we can win an air raid fight with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. That doesn't make any sense. And then there was some of that blame is on Lamar also. There were times where he could have jumped out the window on him and kept drives moving, picking up first downs, but he didn't. Again, he wanted to, I don't know if he wanted to show that he could, sit in the pocket and throw darts, and that's cool. We know you're capable of that, but when it comes down to winning time, do whatever it takes to win. That's all that matters, and that's all anyone is going to remember. So we did hear Lamar say every game this year is a revenge game. We know how badly he wants to win. We know he wants to win for himself. We know he wants to win for his coach. He's already a 2-time MVP, and I don't think there's a 2-time MVP that's not in the Hall of Fame, right? Am I right, G? I don't think so. Every other 2-time.
You're wrong on so many levels, man. But I'm gonna wait till you finish.
Yeah, you do that. You do that.
Yeah.
Here we go, the Homer talk. But I don't think there's any two-time MVP that's not already in the Hall of Fame. So we know that Lamar is going to get there. But what is going to be interesting is, can he get there also as a champion? And so that's what I think many people are looking towards, because clearly he's an outstanding regular season player. And I want to give him credit for the fact that he's continually gotten further in the playoffs, right? His first playoff game, he lost, and then he got to the divisional, and then he lost, and then he got to the conference title game, and then he lost. So, if progression means anything, next up is the Super Bowl, and hopefully he gets that done. Bruiser says Zay Flowers cost that game. Yes, you could say that, but I think the real villain there is Todd Monken. Him calling a terrible game and getting away from what the Ravens do best and what got them to that point. And again, there were situations where Lamar Jackson could have made plays to keep drives going, but he didn't, for whatever reason, he didn't do that. I think he was just I think he picked the wrong time to try and show that he was something else instead of just winning the game. Like, nobody would have cared, just win the game. But yeah, so I'm not even going to attempt to pick this game tomorrow night. I guess I am going to attempt. I think that it just means a little more to Baltimore, so they'll probably squeak out of there with it. But, just the beginning of what hopefully is going to be a great NFL season. All right, go ahead, G. Let me hear what you got.
All right, so at wide receiver, they got Rashee Rice, and then Juju Smith, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce.
Juju was gone, but go ahead. I thought he was gone.
Like he's still there.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's still there. Right, and so I don't really see any thumpers on that squad. Right. I look at their defense, and then I look at what the Ravens have and the two tight end set with Likely, and then you got Bates, and you also have that's an absolute fact. 13 is the real number, but that's no head on there. So I started looking at what their defense is. How will they be able to kind of combat that offensive firepower that the Ravens have, even with that chip on their shoulder. We talked about Zay Flowers. We talked about Mr. Bates. We talked about Andrews coming on from off of injury and being having the opportunity to kind of rest and recover from on the off season. So seeing what type of Mark Andrews show up, but knowing that we also have Isaiah Likely in the back, the backup which is big hands. So you got Zay Flowers, who's a speedster that can get open and make real shifty moves to to kind of gain yards after the catch. And you look at you just can't deny Mr. Henry, third and short. That's going to be 9 times out of 10 we're going to come out a double tight end set with Power Eye. They call him Project Pat, right, or Pancake Pat, and Mr. Henry, and that's the definite in the trenches. Will probably smash mouth, and I don't believe, just looking at their roster with they look like they running a 4-3 defense as well. I just don't see it. I just don't see it from their personnel. I don't think they'll be able to match up with us, even though they made some really, really good picks early on. We don't know who's going to play tomorrow. Marquise Brown might show up tomorrow. Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I just don't see it. Maybe maybe the coach can pull some wizardry out his hat and just be able to get Kyle Hamilton in a one-on-one situation with Travis Kelce 7 times for 7 touchdowns. I don't got it. I don't see it.
You're disrespectful. Kyle Hamilton going to stop, man.
No, I'm telling you, Prosek is not with Prosek. He's not going to go off tomorrow. He's going to get popped. He's going to sit down. It's just that's just they took their chip, and the NFL probably shouldn't have put them in that position where they get to see us again, because I know, right, it was fluke. It definitely was fluke, man. Yeah, he's definitely Notre Dame, and I don't understand why this guy don't understand, that Kyle Hamilton had a lot to do with that loss as well. It wasn't all on Zay Flowers. It was definitely Kyle Hamilton. He couldn't check nobody during that game.
You're acting like Kyle Hamilton was out there getting cooked up, and that's not the case.
He looked like a pup.
All right, go ahead with what you're saying. Go ahead with what
He looked like a pup. He looked like a pup.
Go ahead with what you're saying, man. Go ahead with what you're
But that's gonna happen though. That's gonna happen. We knew that. And I
First team
thought
all
Andy Reid did it.
It's all good, you know.
I did. I thought Andy Reid did a really good job of exploiting our vulnerabilities and taking advantage of, the tenured players or the more seasoned veterans. I thought he did a really good job of isolating Kyle Hamilton, putting him in coverage because anyway, this dude is a tackle master as well, right? And he's a turnover king. Like I give him his props, bro. Let's not be what's the name? But I don't think his girl was in the stands. I ain't going down the Taylor Swift thing. I'm not, man, but I'm just gonna say, like, Tyler, you still on here? Me and Tyler went to a game, man. We was talking about it. He's like, yo, look around, G. And I said, I'm glad Tyler's on here, man. Like, Tyler's like, look around, G. You see it, they going crazy. And I looked around and said, wow, this is nuts. Like, everybody singing Taylor Swift songs, man. And
but what does that have to do with the outcome of the game?
It's a business, bro.
What does that?
I'm not saying that has anything to do with anything.
Okay,
I'm saying Thursday, right? Tomorrow night at 7:00. You can fly up here because I know you're a diehard Ravens fan as well. Even though you seem like you don't know if Kansas City gonna win or the Ravens gonna win tomorrow. Right?
Because I'm objective. I don't know who's going.
But I'm looking at their roster, bro, and I'm not seeing a W.
Yeah, but we're looking on paper, and I'm not saying the Ravens aren't going to win. I'm not saying they're not capable of winning, but what I'm saying is there's something to be said for having the hands down best quarterback in the game, which is Mahomes.
Hold on, first of all, he played like shit all year last year. He was grinding out all his wins. It wasn't like this dude was dominating the league like he did.
Is there any other? So let's. I'm being objective here. Are you going to tell me that? Given your choice, you taking Lamar Jackson over Pat Mahomes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
All right. I mean, it's not rocket science, bro. And if you look at stats, like every time, I can't remember the last time. I mean, if we lose to a team, let's say for instance, we get bumped the first year, that's always the first game of the season. We always steamroll them. We always the Ravens always steamroll the team that they play or lost to. That's always been on our schedule. Like, and a lot of times it's been Kansas City as that first game because like you said, 1-4, and so that. But if you look at how many times we played them after we lost, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Tyler, I'm not saying that Taylor Swift didn't bring a tremendous amount of revenue to the NFL. That's why it was such a big deal. I get it. What I'm saying is G keeps insinuating that apparently Taylor Swift is putting on eye black and pads and suiting up and sneaking out there as a damn ringer. And I'm like, Taylor Swift don't have anything to do with who's winning these games or not. That's what I'm saying.
$30 billion. $30 billion. That's a lot of money, bro.
And that has nothing to do with who's winning games between the lines. Bruiser says luck plays a lot in Pat's success. Now, let's say this, right? One thing we know in every sport, every champion gets a little bit of luck. To say luck plays a lot in Pat's success, I disagree, but every champion has some luck, right? We can say Joe Montana had luck. The catch that he threw to Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone, Joe Montana is on record saying he was trying to throw that ball out of the end zone. Dwight Clark just jumped up and caught it, right? There's always luck. What do you got? The Tuck rule. The Tuck rule started a dynasty, right? That's luck, right? Every champion has a little bit of luck. It's one of those things. The Boston Celtics, I know I'm switching sports. They got a lot of luck en route to their championship last year, right? Everybody got hurt in the East, and they were able to skate through. Every champion gets some luck. I think the Warriors' first championship, I think every starting point guard on the teams that they played en route to the title was hurt. So every team gets luck, and that shouldn't always degrade how we look at them as a team. It's just part of being a champion. But my great aunt, she was a college professor. She always used to say, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So basically, if there's luck, but you can't seize it, then it doesn't matter. You have to seize on the opportunity and take advantage of it. So we can't say luck plays a lot in Pat's success as if Pat is not an all-time great quarterback. We can't. And there you go, Steve. 3 Super Bowls and 4 appearances ain't luck. There is some luck to it, but all that winning, that's not only luck. Yeah, so that's what I say. Of course, we gotta give Andy Reid credit. G and I were actually talking earlier before we even got on the show here tonight, and one of the things I was saying, and this is no disrespect to Pat Mahomes, if you had a Lamar Jackson or a Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen, and they had been lucky enough to get drafted by Kansas City and get coached up by Andy Reid, chances are we'd be talking about them the way we talk about Pat Mahomes. So totally get it. Andy Reid has to get his due. One of the best offensive coaches of all time, no question. I get it. So I mean, these are just things that we gotta take into account. But yeah, tomorrow night it's just super excited. Ravens versus the Chiefs. It's gonna be a fantastic game.
It's gonna be a blowout.
Don't see that, but I definitely see, man. G, you a homer, man.
I'll tell you, bro. Like,
man.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. Again, you know me. I got no problem with coming on here if I was wrong and saying, "Damn, I was wrong." Got no problem with that, but I don't see it. Are you going on tomorrow after the game or the next day? I might have to record something else tomorrow, so I don't know. G, you know what? G and I will talk about that. Maybe we should go on after the game. Might be a lot of football fans up waiting for content. We might have to do that. Maybe take like a half hour or something like that and just talk about the game afterwards. We'll talk about it. We'll
recap.
See. Yeah, we might have to do that. That might actually be a good idea. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's the problem. Nightcap is going to be on, and man, we don't have a chance going up head to head against them. Oh man, I ain't even think about that. We'll see though. We'll see. But
they saying the same thing we saying, bro. Like,
say again.
They say the same thing we say, man.
Right. Yeah. They just got a lot bigger name and a lot more juice behind it.
And they're a couple days late.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be on right after the game. All right, but look, let's do this. Really good topic here, and just super excited about the show. So let's go ahead, take a few minutes and open up the phone lines. I'll put it back in the chat. 904-219-8264. Go ahead, give us a call. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that opener, Ravens versus Chiefs. Any of the subplots that we talked about, whether it's Mahomes or Taylor Swift or Andy Reid or Lamar Jackson or John Harbaugh or the outcome of the game itself, whatever it may be, give us a call. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this game. It's going to be huge. We can't wait, and can't think of a better way to open it up. Probably the only better way to open the season, G, I think, would have been if they did a hard bowl to open up the season. That would have been fire.
Yeah, we got that later on in the season, though, right?
Yeah, November, I believe.
Yeah. This is a good one.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, well, I guess because they got to open the season with the defending champion. But I would have loved to see a hard bowl to open up the season. I think that would have been fire.
They ain't ready.
Nah.
Yeah, no, they ain't ready.
Well, we've seen how Jim Harbaugh walks into a program and immediately makes it viable. Everywhere he's been, he's done that. So
yeah, and he's in the same division as Andy Reid, which is going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot of interest pressure to that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But what you want to bet they split with him? I bet you they split with him.
But they shouldn't even lose to them. But at the same time, they got a lot of weapons. So it's it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting.
Dobbins, Gus Edwards. Yeah. And of course, they drafted Joe Alt out of where? O-line U, Notre Dame. I'm just saying, keep that in mind. Format Podcast.
What's up, y'all? This is Bruce.
What's going on, Bruce? How you doing, man?
I'm just calling to make my prediction, the score prediction. Truthfully.
All right.
31-17 Ravens.
Okay. What leads you to such a big score gap?
Just vengeance. Just seeing how the guys talking in the interviews and the addition of Derrick Henry. It's personal.
That's big.
They got Derrick Henry personally for this game, but for them. Man, you see Lamar Jackson slim down. This is personal. You know, Lamar was fat past 2 years, according to him. Remember he said that?
I don't think he was, but I get what you're saying though.
I remember that.
He felt fat. Did you say man, this is Louisville, Lamar, and Derrick Henry. The fear on that read option. Man, what you gonna do? Pick your poison, bro. Man, Zay Flowers gonna man. Listen, we are loaded. On defense, we got
shorty, yeah. I thought you was a Ravens fan, bro. I don't understand. You can't see what. Never mind. I'm gonna leave it alone.
On defense, we got all. Listen, on defense, we got all pros on each level of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, man. We are low. We are deep. We have a no fly zone. Man, listen. This Super Bowl bust year. I'm sorry. It's Super Bowl bust. You just can feel it. You just can feel the urgency. Understand what I'm saying? Hey, Mike, you talk about Cleveland gonna be tough, but Cleveland don't have no steady quarterback in the AFC North. I don't mean to go off subject, but I'm saying, look, they keep talking about Shannon Sharp when they was talking about, you know, I watch First Take religiously.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about Cleveland. Listen, Deshaun Washington is not Lamar Jackson. But let's get back to this KC game. This is personal. We went and got Derrick Henry personally for this. This is personal. We're gonna show out tomorrow. We always show out in primetime games. Now, this is personal tomorrow, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good look for us tomorrow. I'm just saying, listen, gonna beat them by 2 touchdowns.
It's Ravens football, man. This ain't nothing new. It's Ravens football.
This is personal. Go into Arrowhead. We're gonna make a statement tomorrow.
I'm trying to think. When was the last time you saw someone go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs like that? That's what I'm saying. Well, like, even if the Ravens win, like a 2 touchdown spread, that's a lot.
But listen, though, it hasn't been done. But you know what they say? Hey, no records or, you know, stuff happen for the first time all the time.
Yeah.
We're going to make a statement tomorrow. Well, I'm telling you, it's personal. I just feel it. So, Patrick Mahomes, they got a little better on offense with Isaiah the boy Worthington out of Texas. They talking about
Xavier Worthington.
He only weigh 110 pounds, man. You know those type of guys don't last in the NFL.
Well, so the only I'll push back on you a little bit on that. Didn't Deshaun Jackson play like 13 years in the league?
But still, Deshaun Jackson was a little bit stronger than Isaiah. Worthington is a little. You see, he is small, man.
Didn't D-Jack say he was like 165 most of his career? I thought so.
Well, let me say this. D-Jack was taller than him.
Probably.
Yeah, he was a little bit taller than Worthington. Well, anyway, though, man, that's why we went and got Nick Wiggins.
Mm-hmm.
Understand what I'm saying? It's chess, not checkers. We went and got Wiggins for this specific reason. Marlowe looked better in camp. Marlowe slimmed down. Marlowe ain't cut his head in 6 months. Yep. Man, we are locked in, man. This is personal, man. Listen. I say we're going to lose 4 games this year. We're going to go 13-4. That's my final prediction. But tomorrow, it's going to be a 31-17 game or like a 28-14 game, something like that. So.
All right. Well, there you have it.
All right, boo-boo.
Thanks for the call, Bruce. I appreciate you.
Hey, Bruce, I appreciate you, bro.
All right, bro. All right.
31-17, huh?
Yeah, it's on wax, too.
Yeah. That's big. It's big. 31-17. I don't see it.
I don't understand why you seem like so surprised about this, man. Like it's not in our warehouse.
I'm objective.
Like I think we added 2, man. Like I don't think we took away. These guys not 100% healthy as well, you know. So they coming in pretty much hurt and fat. They won a Super Bowl. You know, our quarterback been locked in since the day he lost, and so you can see it. And you know, it's just You gotta love when Ravens fans call in, man. They hyped up. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? You gotta love it, bro. Like that's the fabric of our city, bro. Like if you're not from here, you're not gonna understand it.
Fan is short for fanatic, right? I get it.
Absolutely.
I get it.
Absolutely. 100%.
But see, but my job is to try and be objective. You know what I'm saying? And I now I will say this as much
You're doing
as
a great job, bro. We talked before this. You're doing a great job. I know it's a struggle for you.
It is because I want to believe everything y'all saying, and I want to see everything y'all saying happen. I'm just saying, like, that's a really good football team on the other side right there, you know.
Yeah, but
we'll see. We'll see.
You know what I'm saying? They won the chip. They fat. You know, they been celebrating all year, man. You know.
I don't know, man. I think there's certain players when they win, they just want to win more, you know. And I think Mahomes is one of those guys, right? It's like,
man, your father was talking about, oh yeah, we smoking on that Lamar Jackson. Yo, nah, man, you don't do that, boy. You gotta come back and see that kid. He gonna go off, man. Shorty gonna go crazy tomorrow.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and let's take it to the final topic, G. This one we're gonna get in a little basketball here, surprisingly. So this one actually caught me. I was searching something else today, and I just saw this on my homepage pop up, right? So remember during the pandemic, The Last Dance came out, right? And everybody was all hooked on that, and it was crazy. And so Isaiah Thomas, well, first, before we even do that, let me ask you, G, what's your thoughts on Isaiah Thomas? Like, what's his legacy as a player for you?
I think Zeke was one of the best point guards to play the game. He easily in a lot of people top 10, if not top 5.
Top 10 all time or top 10 point guards?
Top 10 all time. I think he's easily in there top 10 all time.
Okay.
Point guards. Sir, point guards.
That's what I was asking.
Point guards.
Okay. I was like, what?
But I mean, you know, I grew up watching Isaiah too, so
yeah,
you know, it's easy for me to put him in my top 10 all time. But is he there? No, he's not. Of course not. There's no room for him. But he's still a super solid point guard. Was able to make all the passes, you know, make all the shots really. And he's, you know, got handles, man. He came in early with handles. Like dribbling skills crazy. You see him on like clips. If you ain't grew up in that era, he dribbling with like 2 fingers and shit on like, you know, like inches off the ground, what have you. And so he's definitely an athlete, a hell of a point guard. I think if I am a sports fan or a basketball fan, I definitely look at the documentary that's coming out because you'll probably get a whole lot of propaganda, but you'll also get insight on his point of view, right? We only see like a certain group of folk who control the narrative. We only see their point of view, so we don't really see how that fraternity viewed him, right? After not making the All-Star game, but you know, he's Detroit, so not top 10 all time, but second best point guard ever, world champion. There's only 5 positions on the court, but okay. So you know, back to what I was saying. You just gotta. I think it'll. I hope it'll be a really good documentary because I'm definitely gonna watch it, right? Or read his book or what have you, because it's Zeke. And he has a body of work that's worthy of viewership. So that's what I think. And when I think of Zeke, I just think of like a stone cold killer.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's what I look at.
Okay, so you said a lot of what I was thinking. Steve also said some of what I was thinking in the chat. So I don't have Isaiah Thomas as a top 10 player of all time, but I do have him as the second best point guard of all time, no question, right behind Magic Johnson. I think there's something to be said for the fact that he was the first little guy to really win and to dominate. He could score, he could pass, he was an elite passer, an elite scorer, he could defend, he was a leader. And I mean, for somebody so small, he was tough, man. And I think, you know, that had to do with him. You know, he was a hood dude, you know. He came from the hood. He grew up on the blacktop.
Did he play above the rim?
Say again?
He played above the rim? I've never really seen him dunk.
Yeah, there was some clips actually in the B-roll I just showed. There was actually a couple clips. Like there's one, I know you saw it when the shot came off the rim and Allen Iverson caught it on the follow, like right over somebody's back with one hand. Isaiah Thomas got one of those. It was actually in the B-roll I just showed. But Zeke was that dude, man. He was athletic, super quick, as you mentioned, great handles. Didn't have to carry, didn't have to double dribble, none of that, didn't have to travel, none of these violations you see all these so-called elite ball handlers today doing, but he was just, he was on it. He could make all the shots, physically tough, gritty, just a leader, a floor general, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, which is crazy to think of, right? He was first-team All-Pro multiple times in a league that had prime Magic and prime Stockton. Like, that tells you how good he was at his absolute peak. I was getting to that, Bruce. Zeke Tuff, he played in the finals with an injury that would sit modern players down for months. If you go back to 88 finals game 6, that was until Allen Iverson broke it. I think it was a record. I think he hit 25 points in the third quarter of that game, and he did it on an ankle that was like swollen up to the size of a baseball. They taped it up as tight as they could, and he was out there. I mean, gutsy performance, really all-time legendary stuff. And they would have won the championship if they didn't get robbed on a phantom call. Bill Laimbeer against Kareem on a skyhook at the end of Game 6. They would have won the championship, and that would have been a 3-peat right there. So, I mean, Isaiah is one of the all-time greats. And the reason we bring up Isaiah, and the reason I asked G that question, kind of what was his thoughts on how he remembered Isaiah and Isaiah's legacy as a ball player, is because Isaiah is one of the all-time great ball players, but he doesn't get his due. And I think a big part of that is because of Michael Jordan and The Last Dance, right? So when The Last Dance came out, it was chronicling the Bulls' final championship season, but a lot of it showed the rise of Michael Jordan and the Bulls, from the time he entered the league to winning and, the end of that 98 season. And a big part of that, unfortunately, was the rivalry with the Pistons, which is kind of what began Michael Jordan's true legacy and his legend, right? Because they being the Bulls, they had to go 3 straight years getting knocked out of the playoffs by the Pistons before they were able to, overcome them, crest that mountain, and then win a championship, right? Which is why, quick side note, I get on LeBron the way I do, because when it got hard for him, instead of him doing that the way Michael Jordan and the Bulls did to get past the Pistons, and like the same way the Pistons had to fight to get past the Celtics, right? All those guys waited their turn and they fought and they got better. They didn't quit and run somewhere else like LeBron did. That's why I have such an issue with the move LeBron made. But back to Michael Jordan and Isaiah. So anyway, so The Last Dance comes out, and the big issue is that when the Bulls finally swept the Pistons in 1991, the Pistons walked off the floor without shaking hands with the Bulls for the Bulls to celebrate. And Michael Jordan, he called Isaiah Thomas an a-hole on The Last Dance, and Isaiah's like, yo, I never knew this dude had beef with me all this time, And so since then, Isaiah's basically been pleading his case and his side of things. And I've done a few different shows about it. And one of them I was talking about, Isaiah's an all-time great. He's a winner, but he can't win this, right? Because at the end of the day, I feel bad for this whole situation, because what's happening is people aren't getting to see how great of a player Isaiah Thomas was. What they're seeing is that Michael Jordan beat him, and at the end of the day, Michael Jordan's shadow is just too large for Isaiah Thomas to win that battle. So what ends up happening, exactly. Great point, Tyler. History isn't going to be fair to Zeke because his career was short and finished with 0 MVPs. Now, if we're real, his career wasn't that short, right? He came in 1981, and he retired in 1993 after he tore his Achilles. So was that 12 years? 12 years, 13 years, 12 years. So, but the point here is, back then, guys didn't play that long because the sports science and the medicine wasn't the same as it is now, right? So, and the game was much more physical back then. So, there's that. And 0 MVPs, that's tough because what? Right when he was getting into his prime, Larry Bird won 3 straight MVPs. Later, while he's in his prime, Magic Johnson is winning 3 MVPs. And following that, of course, Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan won his first MVP, I think, in 88. And that's when Isaiah Thomas won his first championship. So, it's tough that's when Isaiah Thomas went to the finals for the first time, not won his first championship. But the point is, it's tough when you're playing with those type of, top level superstars in the history of the game, Jordan, Bird, Magic, to win MVP. So I don't know that should be held against him, right? But anyway, the point is, now apparently Isaiah Thomas is coming out with his own documentary because he wants his side of the story to be told. But again, the problem is it just seems like he's begging for people to believe him. And I'm not saying he's lying about in what he's saying in terms of telling his side of the story, but Michael Jordan's shadow just looms too large, man. Your thoughts on that, G? Like, it's tough, man.
I mean, I just look. Well, so there's a couple things that kind of stand out. As a young kid watching the game, I saw two men kissing on the basketball court. Right, that was the first time I seen that ever happen. It was Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas, and
make sure you clarify that though.
Okay, it was a kiss on the cheek.
Right. Make sure you clarify that. You use. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I didn't ask for that. Like, I was watching the basketball game. That was like pushed on me. Like, as a young man, I'm watching this game and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, so is this our like first real LGBT moment in the NBA? Was that the reason why he was shunned? Like, those are some of the questions I'm asking. I break these things down and so like I haven't seen that since. But that happened, and it's like, okay, well, is this documentary going to cover, those types of like things that was done? Like, is he going to talk about that? Because that was a big thing, bro. Like, I know it's kind of taboo to talk about things like that in today's era, right? With the whole alphabet community, but at the same time, like, that was a really big thing, man. And you can't talk Isaiah Thomas or Magic Johnson without talking about, the kiss. Right. Like, I know it sounds like I'm effed up, but at the same time, bro, it was just like, what was the relevance in that? Like, what was you showing us? Like, what was you trying to say?
So I'm gonna just push back on that real quick.
Like, no homo, no Diddy, no Diddy.
No. I get it. We're in America, so that's a little different. But there's a lot of other parts of the world where men who are close, they agree to each other and they will kiss on the cheek. I'm not saying I would do that, right? They weren't kissing on the lips. That would be kind of weird. But so I don't immediately see that and think like, oh, okay, that's a rainbow moment. Like, I didn't see it that way. You know what I'm saying?
See it as a rainbow moment?
Nah, I didn't. Nah.
So with that documentary coming out, man, I think he'll probably touch on the rainbow moment that he had with Magic Johnson. You know what I mean? I think Prime. Big facts.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Go ahead, G. All right.
Yeah. So, it's those things, you know what I mean? That was just like, what the hell is this? And why is this happening? Nobody talked about it. But at the same time, it's a documentary, man. He'll touch on that. He'll touch on the, alleged like sexual assault case, I'm sure. He'll talk about.
I don't think so. I'm sure there's a non-disclosure agreement on that one. I don't think he's going to talk about that.
Yeah, you never know. But at the same time, this guy has had some, he's touched like all lines. He didn't cross all lines. And so we can say that Mike was probably the reason why. It could have been other reasons why that he wasn't either. Like, people probably didn't want to, during those times, that type of behavior was kind of like, it was frowned upon. I'll say that. But that's not for me to judge. I'm just saying, like, those are some of the things I think about Zeke, a hell of a player, kissing Magic Johnson, you know what I mean? The sexual assault in the office, and just never playing on an Olympic team. That was pretty much his story. I mean, beast on the basketball court, but I think off the court antics kind of like that's probably why he's not in a lot of folks' top 5.
I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that. I honestly don't. I think that for me, all right, I can't speak for others. Let me take that back. I can't speak for others. For me, I think about this dude as a basketball player. and I think he was an absolute animal, right? And it's my opinion, and I could be wrong, that the whole point of this documentary that he's putting out is he is going to utilize this to, one, tell his story and his side of things when it comes to the whole Michael Jordan issue, because I'm sure he doesn't feel he's getting, a fair. I feel like he's probably not getting he doesn't think that people are assessing him fairly in terms of that whole situation. And I think that he probably feels like his legacy has been forgotten, especially and I can't speak for him, but I think he feels like his legacy has been forgotten, especially in the era of Steph Curry, where you actually got some idiots saying Steph Curry's the best point guard of all time, or, all type of other stuff. Or Steph Curry is a top 10 player of all time and all this. And I'm like, but that's a different story. But the point is, I think he's feeling like his legacy as an all-time great player has been forgotten. And I think he wants to kind of refresh that. Excuse me. Oh man. Okay. I think that he wants to really refresh that and remind people how great of a player he was, right? Because all great athletes have something of an ego. And I think it hurts him that people have forgotten that, because he does make some good points. Like, if you follow him on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, like he says a lot of things that make sense, and he makes a lot of good points. And one of the things he says was, I'm the only guy, that can say they beat Bird, Magic, and Jordan in their prime. He caught Jordan at the beginning of his prime, but he beat him a number of years in a row. He beat Magic and he beat Bird, and it's true. Nobody else can say that. And I think he doesn't get the respect he deserves as a player. And we can see that right here in our chat when you got people saying that they'll take prime D Rose 100 times out of 100 over Isaiah Thomas. I'm like, okay, that's absurd. But, everybody is certainly entitled to their opinion. I wouldn't. And I don't know too many basketball people that would agree with that either. But the point is, I think the whole
really.
I don't know too many basketball people that are taking prime D Rose over Isaiah Thomas. No,
prime D Rose is a problem, bro.
Yes, he was, but he wasn't better than Isaiah Thomas. He wasn't the distributor. He wasn't the defender. And he was a better scorer. But again, part of that was the way his team was and the way the league was at the time. But he wasn't a better distributor. He wasn't a better defender. And realistically, in a big game, if you're taking D Rose over Isaiah, I don't know what to tell you when we've seen what Isaiah has done in the big games. And
everybody knows. Everyone knows
every level.
D Rose wasn't hurt, and I think that's what's distorting your kind of views on this. But everyone knows if D Rose wasn't hurt, he would took over the goddamn league, man.
Do we know that, or would he have been?
Ja Morant. No, man, come on, bro. Don't disrespect D Rose like that, bro.
How am I disrespecting D? What does D Rose do that Ja Morant doesn't do, and vice versa? They're pretty much the same player.
D Rose is more of a shooter than goddamn Durant. Morant.
He became a shooter after he destroyed his knee.
No way, bro. He been shooting the ball, bro. He was a complete player, yo.
Go ahead and look it back. Go ahead,
player, man. Go back and look, man. Like, I know you stuck in a certain era, bro, but I watched I watched Zeke and I watched D Rose, bro.
I watched it all too, and
there's a problem, bro. He was a problem.
Listen, I'm not trying to say D Rose wasn't a problem. What I'm saying is I'm not taking him over Derrick Rose, and what I'm saying is the comparison is more. Isaiah Thomas. The comparison is more prime Derrick Rose and Ja Morant. They are very similar players. Absolutely, very similar players. Yeah, there's no question about that. You can look that up from the stats to the way they play. Go back and watch the games. They're very similar players.
D Rose was crazy, man. Like I don't.
I just finished telling you. I didn't say he wasn't.
I seen D Rose do some shit that Zeke dream about doing, man. Like,
okay, so he can jump higher. Yeah,
he was more of a true point guard than D Rose was, but that ain't necessarily a good thing.
That is a good thing because Isaiah could score. Isaiah could score if you needed him to. He's a better distributor, a better defender, a better winner. What's your argument for D Rose over Zeke? That's absurd.
Opportunity, yo. I think if you put Zeke in the same position that you put D Rose in, you're gonna have the same outcome. If you put D Rose in the same position that Zeke was in, you gonna have the same outcome, bro. Like he gonna win just as much as he won. He had multiple Hall of Famers on the team. Really?
I don't see that.
That's crazy work, man. The only thing that hindered him was his injuries, bro. That's it. He was a far superior player than Isaiah, man. He would have cooked him. He would have cooked him. He would have cooked him, bro. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you the difference is like they wasn't playing on the same team. They weren't playing on the same team, so it's harder to say what a person would have did on a team, back in the 80s and the 90s, and then you fast forward to the 2000s, man. Like it's hard to say.
When D Rose was in his prime, they played on teams that were very similarly built, did they not? Elite defensive teams, right? With one elite scoring guard, right? Yeah.
You see what he was doing to these. You seen what he was doing to our so-called superior defenders, man. Like the league got watered down in the 2000s. Come on, bro, stop acting like that. He was definitely a more superior athlete than Isaiah Thomas, which means he was
that doesn't make him
better
a superior
athlete
player. That doesn't make him a better player.
He shoots from everywhere, yo.
Oh my gosh! Look,
listen. So
D Rose didn't start being a shooter until he blew his knee out and lost the athleticism. That's when the shooting came.
When he lost the athleticism, right? He's still putting up 50 points on hangers. He's still putting up 50 points on hangers for legs, man. So, I get what you're saying, bro. But to still be able to compete with all those injuries, it took a while for you to get. Like Isaiah Thomas ain't never had to go through that. He ain't never had to go through that type of injury, man. Like he wasn't even supposed to be still playing in the league. And I think in the last 5 years he stopped, but some of those injuries was crazy, man. By the way, I believe that Steph Curry is probably one of the best point guards under Magic Johnson to play the game right now. Yep.
So,
Yep.
So Isaiah Thomas, I was trying to find it, and I was searching to find out when this doc is supposed to be released or whatever, because I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. Because again, I know what he's trying to do here. The sad part is it doesn't matter what the doc says or how great the highlights are. He's not. And this side note, it's weird that he's doing this doc because there was already a 30 for 30 on the Bad Boy Pistons. So like, what more could he put in his documentary other than, him again trying to, beg and plead for people to like him and him personally explain more, his side of things, which if you follow his Twitter or if you listen to all the different interviews he's done, whether I think it's All the Smoke or the Knuckleheads or what have you, and he really explains things very, very well, right? And I'm not in disagreement at all with many of the explanations that he has given on things and how it all went down. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter how true what many of the things he says may be. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Jordan is always going to win that argument. It is what it is, and that's the hard part. I know how great you were, Zeke, and a lot of people, if they are old enough or if they can remember, they know how great you were, but it is what it is. Your legacy, unfortunately, is where it is now, and there's nothing you can do to boost it any higher. That's the tough part.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I can't trust him because he never wore a mustache, so he'll never be in my top 10.
I don't even know. What?
It's okay. It'll resonate later.
What are you saying?
Just he'll never be in my top 10.
Dream didn't wear a mustache. He's top 10.
I never said Dream was in my top 10.
Don't tell me Dream's not in your top 10. If you tell me Dream's not in your top 10, we're not talking ball anymore.
We're not talking about Dream, bro. We talking about.
Did Melo wear a mustache?
Melo didn't wear a mustache. Get it, man. Golly, bro. Where was you raised at, man?
I'm lost, man. It must be a B-more thing, because
it's not, bro. Look at your chat, man.
Your B-more cats in the chat.
Man, yo, we gotta talk offline, bro. We gotta talk.
I think so, because I'm lost.
Yeah, I see that. You was like stuck. Yeah. It was crickets. Yeah.
Completely lost.
It's okay. It's all right, bro. We gonna work on you. We gonna work. The chat gonna work on you, bro.
I guess so. I guess so. That's I don't even know what that is, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do this. This is the final topic of the night. I'm gonna put the number in here. 8264. Let's go ahead and we'll take calls. I'm gonna open up these phone lines because first, if anybody can explain to me what's the deal with this mustache thing, that would be fantastic. Second of all, I would love your thoughts on Zeke and his documentary and what you think he's gonna gain from this, or what you think his plan for this documentary is, and if you want to comment on anything else regarding Zeke and the absurdity that Derrick Rose is better than him.
Definitely.
That's crazy. That's so disrespectful. Wow. I can't. Wow. Yeah, I really want to know what's the deal with this mustache thing, because I have no idea. I don't.
Transformer funny, man. I can't. We're gonna have to talk later, man.
Yeah, I got no idea what that means. I really don't. That's a wild one.
Yeah, I mean, he just chose no facial hair, which is crazy as a man. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's I understand. Probably, Hakeem probably did it for religious reasons. I just don't understand why.
Not really.
Yeah,
I've never heard that before. I have no
idea. You never heard that one before? Nah. Stick around, bro. Stick around. You're gonna learn a lot, man. You're gonna learn a lot, bro.
I don't know what that is.
Yep, you're gonna learn a lot, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, that's a new one. So nobody gonna call in and give us your thoughts on Zeke, huh? Or this mustache business. All right.
Yep.
All right. Okay. I don't know, Steve. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. See, this is when
it's a guy thing, yo. It's a guy thing. It's a man thing. I'm sorry, y'all don't understand. No disrespect. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. That's a new one.
Yeah, man, we just having fun, man. That's all. Just having
no doubt, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, man. Well, I guess we're gonna hang it up right here. Nobody wants to call and give their thoughts on Zeke and his documentary. I know, right? For real. That's a new one. That's a new one.
Yeah, we're gonna have
oh my goodness.
We had to do some training for the Navy, man. Try to figure out, why they shoot
use the scope.
Yeah, weapons backwards.
Yeah, that
crazy
was terrible.
Work. Yeah, that was the worst thing I seen all year, man.
That was pretty bad.
But apparently, like, they don't shoot rifles. The Navy don't.
No, they don't. Air Force either.
Yeah, they get pistols, and the Air Force get like some, I don't know, some blank.
No, they shoot it. They shoot it in basic training, and then after that, if you're not combat arms, you apparently don't shoot anymore.
Yeah, the Navy get pistols though. They don't get rifles.
But I think they shoot rifles in basic training, though.
No pistols
at all.
At all, bro.
What the hell? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, Corpsmen gonna shoot rifles because they got a Oh, there you go. See a transformer. Okay.
Not all of y'all.
That's what I thought. I thought everybody fires rifles in basic training.
So I've been talking to a lot of Navy folk today, and their excuse is like we wasn't issued those. We shoot rifles unless you are of a certain type of age school.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna call it right here, y'all. We're gonna call it right here. Everybody who came into the show, thank you. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, just make sure you hit that like, subscribe on the way out, and make sure you share the show with other people. This one kind of went off the rails at the end, but it's all good, man. Sometimes we just come here, we have fun. We talk about a whole lot of different things, mostly sports, but then odd things come up like mustaches. I don't know. So yeah, but But that's what we got for tonight. Show Saturday night, the usual. So check back with us Saturday night at 7 p.m. Look forward to having y'all, and we are gonna do it. So yeah, that's it, and we out. Peace. If I could stop this thing, there we go.
Oh.
I think it's still going.